across the game as it gets a little bit closer. It is also, by the way, speaking of playmakers, Sandon Smith's 50th game for the relatively new Newcastle Knights halfback. So there you go.
He's got a bit of pressure on his shoulders, Sandon Smith. He's got to be the guy that guides him around the park and takes charge. I think the other two, well, Fletcher Sharp for sure is a runner, and Fletcher Hunt as that sweeping fullback is more of a runner. So Sandon Smith, his kicking game, his structure and his direction is going to be key.
The toss was won by Newcastle's acting captain Jacob Safidi, and they will kick off. The Dogs will receive and run left to right towards that giant southern TV screen. So there you have it. Bright sunshine here, as Ruan said. A bit of a wind gust as well. As the Knights make their way out onto Stadium Australia, their fullback is Fletcher Hunt, wingers Dom Young and Greg Marju, centres Dane Gagai and Bradman Best, 5'8" Fletcher Sharp. He's back for the first time since Vegas from that knee injury. Half-back the 50th game of Sandon Smith. Lock forward Matt Croker. Back rowers Dylan Lucas and Jermaine McEwen. The props are Jacob Safidi, who was captain today, along with him, Pasami Saulo, and the hooker is Phoenix Crossland. The bench, Tyson Friselle, Thomas Kent, Cody Hopwood, Tyson Gamble, Harrison Graham, and the yet-to-debut Wilson de Courcy. We may see him as part of their extended bench. The Newcastle Knights, their coach is Justin Holbrook, and of course they are 2 wins and 1 loss. Beaten last start by the Warriors in New Zealand, 38-12 last week. And here come the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Fans are up. Music's up, conditions beautiful. They're just letting the music build a little bit here, I reckon, the Bulldogs, just to sort of build the suspense. Their first home game for campaign 26. It'll be fullback Connor Tracy, wingers Jacob Carraz and Marcelo Montoya, centres Anari Tawala and captain Stephen Crichton, who leads them out now. 5'8" Matt Burton, halfback Lachlan Galvin, and the lock forward Jamin Salmon. Second row is Xiaomi Mi and Jacob Preston. The props, Max King and Lipboy Hopboy. It's actually his first career start in career game number 11. The bench, Satili Tupanua, Kurt Mann, Josh Curran, Sean O'Sullivan, Jonathan Sewer and Fletcher Baker. One of 3 Fletchers, as Rue points out, playing here today. Their coach is Karen Serrato. They are unbeaten with 2 wins and a bye in the opening 3 weeks of the season so far. Here we are in round 4. Our referee is Peter Goff. Our touchies are Dave Munro and Phil Henderson, and Grant Joey Atkins is in the bunker. As I said, Newcastle will kick off, and I think we all tipped Canterbury here to win, didn't we? So big opportunity, big task for the Newcastle Knights in their traditional red and blue stripes, and the Doggies in their usual home strip as well here. So beautiful day for it. Bright sunny conditions. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. Let's get it going. Bulldogs, Knights, and sunny conditions here at Stadium Australia, and they do kick off through Fletcher Sharp. The Dogs to have first use as Galvin feeds the footy back here to Max King, and he's tackled 12 out from his own line at northern end of Stadium Australia. So they get the first set of the game here. Marcelo Montoya on a centre field run, his second year back at the Dogs after 4 at the Warriors. Coming back through centre field here again they go. And it's Hit Boy Lopoy, as I mentioned, on his first career start in the front row for the Doggies. Now Preston gets involved. 35 out, 20 in from the western side. Dummy half Haywood across in open space left-hand side, and now tackled 40 out from his own line is the fullback Tracy. Last play Canterbury as Burton's left foot drive goes down towards the chest of Dominic Young. 15 out from his own line. Newcastle get their first possession of the game in bright sunshine here at Homebush. 10 in from the eastern side. No score inside the opening 60 seconds. Ian Hallertau.
Yeah, well, a decent start there from the Bulldogs, and they didn't get outside their half, but a strong kick on the end of things, a nice chase. Now the Knights get an opportunity.
Here they go, open side left through Greg Marju, one of their 2 try scorers last week against the Warriors. 3 tries from 3 games so far. Pasami Saulo, who's back after 3 years at the Raiders, tackled here for the Knights, 35 out. Off the deck goes Crossan, scoops it up one-handed. She has it off here to the back rower in McEwen, 5 short of the halfway. Last play Newcastle, they come blindside right, and the probing kick from Sandon Smith goes down that eastern wing onto the chest of Connor Tracy, and he's out in some space here as well to fall back. He tries to shake and make there on Jermaine McEwen, and he stopped 40 out. So a good game there to start the set now for the Bulldogs, who get up over halfway on tackle 2, this time through Jacob Carraz. 20 in from the eastern side. Hayward across now again. Galvin through hands to Hotboy, and he's tackled 40 out centre field. Hayward keeps moving here to the left-hand side, and Salmon onto Burton. Dummies, tries to step back on the inside here of McEwen, and also Crossland. He's 25 out from that southern line, with 2 plays left in the set now for Canterbury Bankstown. Comes to King, onto Salmon, and again Galvin, tip back here for the Knights. Is it going to be 6 more Canterbury? No, it's with Montoya. He takes on Best, and he's 13 out. As it's come back to Connor Tracy, now Galvin to Salmon, and he's up over that 10-metre line. Now it's last play Canterbury. 9 out, dead centre. Hayward from dummy half to Galvin. Kicks through the defensive line, chasing, and it's battered dead by Fletcher Hunt. Galvin was almost there on the chip and chase, but the first points of the game go begging for now, and it's still Canterbury 0, Newcastle 0. 3 gone first half. ABC Sport, Ruan Sims on the touchline.
Well, what about Connor Tracy down there? Hot knife through soft butter, some silky footwork. He absolutely sliced that right edge defence of the Knights apart. They're going to make sure they need to stay on top of that today, otherwise it will be a very long game for the Knights.
Line drop out Newcastle, and they attempt the short drop out here. Goes about 13 metres. Best gets up there, and it's a successful short drop out taken there by the Newcastle Knights. They get an early set restart as well, the first of the game. 20 out from their own line here. So a full set starts with Marzu, 25 out from that southern end of Stadium Australia, as it's swung across here again now for the Newcastle Knights. Tackled ball and all is Jermaine McEwen, who debuted in round 3 last year. Turns 21 next week, Jermaine McEwen. Now another set restart early in the count now for the Newcastle Knights. So it's come away here, and 2 metres short of the halfway. It is with one of the wingers out there. It's coming out through Safidi, and now over the halfway line. Tackle is made by Nari Tawala. Getting up to play it down there for the Knights is Fletcher Hunt. Comes here to Fletcher sharp, and he's dragged down from behind by Jamin Salmon, 35 out from Canterbury's line. Newcastle deep in attack now on play 4, as it's come through Hansen and Smith. Back now again to McEwen, and a desperate tackle made down there by Matt Burton. They come blindside right, the Newcastle Knights. Gagai, that is swatted there by Viliami Kickout, but Gagai keeps possession, and he stands in the tackle of Salmon, Hayward, and now Kickout. It'll be last play Newcastle, 25 out centre field. As it comes to the right-hand side, Smith's kick goes up. Tracy will launch uncontested, and Canterbury will start their new set, 12 out from their own line. It's still no score here. Bulldogs Knights on ABC Sport, 4.5 gone in Halifax.
Yeah, again, good set there by the Newcastle Knights. A bit of a counter-attack. The Bulldogs, when they got that repeat set, would have loved to build some pressure, but the Knights did well to get the short one back and then progress well downfield, finish with a decent kick, and now they're applying pressure with the defence.
Basami Solo tackles Marcelo Montoya, and this is a nice start to the set here now for the Bulldogs, albeit it's already on play 3, so they're 40 out. Galvin rips it away here, back for Tracy. Now to Wala, who showed good pace and is very impressive after all the questions asked of him, I guess in the preference of no Bronson Sherry. They swing it across open side left, and a high spiraling ball goes up forever from Matt Burton. Sets a task there for Hunt, and he tips it back into the Canterbury line. So position well here with a full set, the Bulldogs, 12 out from Newcastle's line. Galvin dummies, feeds it back on the inside to Max King, who's over and scoring. Is he held up? He might just be.
Coming in to tackle 1. We've got no try.
That's okay. There's still 4 plays left. What about that kick from Matt Burton?
Oh, that was spiraling. I looked to my right in the box next door. Luke Keary was closing his eyes and waiting to see what Fletcher Hunt could do. It was a difficult one to take.
Max King has possession of the ball here.
So this is Grant Atkins in the bunker.
Ooh.
Glasses up here for the replay. Oh,
looks like it comes free. Unless that's his left hand on the other side.
Just looking to see if Max King has possession of the ball when it's grounded, or to take his arm off
Sandon
it.
Smith is sort of reaching for it. Sandon Smith has hands on the ball as it's coming down.
That's lost from line, Spriggy.
So he's lost it. It won't just be come back and play it 10 metres out.
The Knights players are just looking to lock up the ball. Max King loses possession of the ball in the end goal.
There you go. Okay, so in the end, despite that kick from Matt Burton, Canterbury won't get best use of that after the lost ball from Jacob Preston. 5.5 gone first half here. Bulldogs 0, Knights 0. Touchline we go. Ruan Sims.
Well, I think it's a little bit unfortunate there for the Bulldogs because when Fletcher Hunt wasn't able to take control of that kick, he touched it and it went forward. It was actually touched by Dylan Lucas in an offside position and it was play on. So if that had been picked up by the officials, it could have been a different story.
The eagle-eyed Ruan Sims, as per usual here, NRL Satellite ABC Sport. Dummy half Crossland. Knights go back on the attack. Grimesy says, good afternoon, Spriggy and team. Knights Bulldogs by 1,000 today. Have a great call. Thank you, Grimesy. 0467 920 222. Newcastle here on play 3 and tackled 40 out from his own line is Basami Solo. Now through hands, Smith to Hunt. Gagai to Dom Young in open space. Over halfway he goes. Inside support, dummies, takes on Tracy and goes the rest of the way himself. Dominic Young on a 65-70-metre run to score the first points of the game. Knights 4, Canterbury 0, kick to come Newcastle. 7 going first half on ABC Sport. Dean Hallertau.
Well, what a swing that was. We've seen an almost try at the other end to the Bulldogs through Max King. It's disallowed through the error. The Knights get it back and it's a counter-attack once again from them. They're looking to shift the ball early and set. They go to their right side. Really nice structure. Sandon Smith, not too much thought, just a tip onto the fullback and Fletcher Hunt. Then it goes through the hands to Dane Gagai onto the winger there and Dom Young. He summed it up beautifully in the backfield. Shows on the inside to the support coming through. Is able to hold up Connor Tracer enough just to get the advantage on him and then use his speed into the corner. So well done to the Knights on the counter-attack there.
4 tries in 4 games for the Englishman. Back to you, Ruan Sims on the touchline.
What an incredible counter-attack from the Knights. Beautiful movement out of their own edge and Dom Young nicely balanced. He sold Connor Tracy a bag of lollies and the fact that he actually fell for that is because there were so many Knights jerseys in the frame there. Great push support from the away side and against all odds, they're the first one to post points.
Absolutely. Against a wave of Canterbury possession and the fact they had the best opportunity that previous set of the game off the back of a great Matt Burton kick that Max King's lost footy results pretty well immediately in a Dominic Young try. So here is Sandon Smith, who's 23 metres out and a couple in from the eastern side. And bright sunshine here at Sydney Olympic Park, where the extras on Dominic Young try to make it 6-0 Newcastle. Up it goes. No, hits the post and goes away off the far side. So it's Newcastle 4, Canterbury Bankstown 0 here on ABC Sport. Ants from Levine says, happy rugby league, Spriggy, Shop and Roo. Love this game. Love and prayers to you all. Go Doggies. Thank you, Ants. Tim in Lismore says, wish I was Spriggy and got paid to say the name Dean Hallertau all day. It's a good name to say. Spriggy Ruan, I do love Dean Hallertau, the man, or do I just love the name Hallertau? Thank you, Tim. Tim in Lismore, I've got a few of your texts there, Tim. Thank you for those. Did Canterbury roll the wrong West Tigers halfback? Anyway, 0467 920 222. More of those in a set. We'll go around the grounds as well as Safidi brings it back here with the set after points. And Ari Twala makes the tackle, 20 out, 15 in from the western side. And Marju hits that ball from Fletcher sharp at speed. And he's, though, tackled after a very brief run, 28 out from his own line. Through hands it comes now. Matt Croker played every game last year for Newcastle on the lock forward. Plays it back here for Crossland. Through hands it comes to the left-hand side. And brought down there is Dylan Lucas. Plays it on halfway. Safiti gets an up out halfway here. The Newcastle Knights who lead 4-0 against the Bulldogs here. The first of our Saturday fixtures on ABC Sport. Running kick was awkward from Shannon Smith. It'll go high towards Connor Tracy, who takes it on the 4-mean goal. And that will be a restart from 20 and 7. Oh, what happened there? I don't think he hurt. Did Dylan Lucas? So he's got.
Yeah, he didn't didn't realise
it was a 20-metre restart. So he's tackled Connor Tracy as he's running back to the 3-metre line. And that will be a sin bin. Is it Lucas? Dylan Lucas. So 10 in the bin for Dylan Lucas. That was just bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, he's completely missed the fact that it is a 20-metre restart. As you said, Spriggan, you got to feel for him. It's just a little bit unlucky. I don't think the referee really could have done anything else. It looks like an intentional effort to slow the play down, but he had no idea.
So professional foul, albeit, I don't know, inadvertent for Dylan Lucas. So first penalty of the game goes the way of Canterbury Bankstown, and I'll tap on the western side. Tawala played here for Haywood, and now here again to Lipai. Oh boy, also a good name to say, if you can say correctly, which I'm not sure I am. I'm pretty sure, but 35 out from the Newcastle line here. King he's tackled from behind down there by Phoenix Crossland. 25 out centre field. Haywood dummy half on play 4 to Galvin, and he takes on the fullback Fletcher Hunt. The youngster is 13 out centre field now for Canterbury. Haywood, a flat ball from dummy half for Salmon. Oh, that gap was big there as they're down a man, Newcastle. He's tackled 5 away, left-hand side of the post. Haywood to Xiaomi, kick out, takes on 3 or 4 Newcastle defenders, and he's held up. So it'll be a changeover, and the Knights will have possession, metre out from their own line. They do lead 4-0, albeit they lost Dylan Lucas for a very bizarre professional foul rule on Sims.
Well, incredibly, it's actually the second one we've seen in 2 days. It happened last night in the Warriors with Adam Pompey, and I feel like Adam Pompey's one was a bit more on the edge than this one here, but that's the rules, and we get another penalty here for the Newcastle Knights.
So 10 minutes gone first half, and indeed Newcastle with their first penalty of the game. Thank you, Dion, for your text. 0467 920 222. $5 pies, love that, especially with the cost of living, says Matt Wiggins from Ballina. Canterbury have always been big on that, haven't they? We've heard various people from their club, certainly their CEO, Aaron Warburton, speak about the fact they're very aware of the cost of living and, tickets for families and that sort of thing, how quickly those costs all go up. So it's just a little thing, I suppose. $5 pies and sausage rolls for punters here today. Newcastle have possession. Ball comes from the halfback, Sandon Smith, to Dane Gagai, and he's brought down 35 out and 10 in from the eastern side. Newcastle still leads here 4-0 over the Bulldogs, and a nice half break made there by Matt Croker. Newcastle still down a man. Dylan Lucas in the bin. Explosive run from Fletcher Hunt. He's 35 out from Canterbury's line, 20 in from that far side. 12 minutes gone in this first half. Crossland, short pass to Sandon Smith, and now Gagai. He takes on Crichton on that right edge, and the left edge Canterbury defence drags Gagai towards the touchline, and he's out. So it will be a Canterbury ball. They'll have possession. About 20 out from their own line at northern end. As I say, it remains Newcastle 4, the Bulldogs 0 on ABC Sport. Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, well, Dane Gagai, the veteran centre there for the Knights, he just needed to take his medicine and try and find his way to the ground either quicker or cut back inside, because he's seen a little half gap, and they've had a bit of joy down their right edge. The Knights just making soft meters, coming up with an opportunity. Obviously, that's where they scored Dominic Young's try. So just need to take his medicine there, because it was a decent set to start things off there for the Knights.
Andy in Culwara paid $9.20 for a pie earlier today. Says the $5 thing is fantastic. Thank you, Andy. Carraz tackled and play it now here. Haywood back here to King, and now trying to press his way through centre field. Tackled and playing it now is Matt Burton. Haywood fires it right hand side this time for Galvin. Out the back, Tracy takes on the tackle of Fletcher Sharp, and he's brought down 40 out, 20 in western side. Newcastle 4, Canterbury 0 the scoreline here early on. We've played 13 minutes. Galvin, the left-hand side for his captain Crichton. McEwen stops him first in concert with Sandon Smith, and also coming in Dane Gagai. 30 out here the Bulldogs on the last. Open side right, and again it's come through Burton to Galvin. Cut out ball right here to Wala. Run to the corner here for Montoya, and he takes on the desperate Newcastle defence. Pops it out there for his teammate in Tracy. He just chucked it up, but the pass was forward, right?
No try.
Well, you can't rule on a forward pass.
Just confirming the lost ball from the Bulldogs.
So that's the saving grace here for Newcastle. He was on his back and he sort of threw it forward gridiron style. It looked that way from this angle anyway. But I fancy either way. And I look at the Montoya carry here. Bradman Best comes across in the tackle. We've got Grant Atkins looking at this in the bunker.
Just looking to see if Marcelo Montoya has held Pride Aggie secondary in the past for scrimmage.
I think that's a tackle.
Okay. So
right.
Best dislodges the ball, which is why it goes forward. It explains why it travelled that way. It wasn't clear to the naked eye, but it is on the reverse angle replay.
I mean, the ball doesn't touch the ground, but if his momentum stopped and they're on him, then it's a complete tackle.
So that'll be a changeover deep in that.
At this point, Marcelo Montoya is held. This is in the end goal. It's the end of the set for Canterbury. We have a decision.
It's just over.
Yeah, changeover. So 13 going first half. It remains Newcastle 4, Canterbury Bankstown 0 here on ABC Sport. Touchline we go. Ruwan Sims.
Well, this right edge for the Canterbury Bulldogs, they look the most likely with the ball in hand. They're making really good meters and they're punching through quite nicely there. So I think that's really good signs for the home side, and they're travelling down the field pretty easily too.
Sandy from Yumungaree says, a big shout out to my sister Sharon in Mudgee. Go your doggies. Rusty's requesting a Sheffield Shield score update. Can do, Rusty. Give me 1 second to get the game back underway here as Newcastle is pressing up from that southern line. They lead 4-0 over the Bulldogs here at Stadium Australia. And I'll give you the complete around the ground scores with lower grades and the various things in a second when there's a break in play. But now Sandon Smith is dragged back. In fact, it's Fletcher Sharp, the 5'8", as they try to get out of their own red zone here. The Newcastle Knights, Safiti, captain today, rolls it back for Crossland. Now Sandon Smith's involved to McEwen, shoves away Burton. Burton tries again in concert with kick out. It's going to be a set restart here for the Newcastle Knights. So set restart, 30 out from their own line. Only tried the game so far through Dominic Young. This was a 60-metre run against the run of play early on in proceedings, and they still have 5 minutes of the Dylan Lucas sin bin to serve here, the Newcastle Knights, for a very bizarre professional foul on Connor Tracy. He tackled him as he was running back to restart the 20-metre line. Greg Marziu now brought down 40 out 20 in the Canterbury Bulldogs half as Crossland dummy half back to Safiti, run down from behind by Jamin Salmon. Second last play, Newcastle. Can they go again here despite being a man down? Smith off to his fullback Hunt, shrugs one tackle, kicks now for the corner. Young is there. Tracy was there first and bats it out, touching goal. So it remains Newcastle 4, Canterbury 0. Around the grounds in Jersey Flag, second half, Bulldogs 20, Knights 16. Super Rugby, Hurricanes 29, Reds 7. AFL full time. Brisbane have beaten St Kilda 113 to 80 in the Sheffield Shield final, day 3 in Melbourne. Victoria leads overall by 45 runs. They're 7 for 243 after bowling SA out for 198. And in A-League Women, Newcastle 1 leads Adelaide 0. First half score there. Back underway here as Jacob Safiti wins it back for Newcastle, 30 out. So they keep possession here, the Newcastle Knights. Fed back now again to Pasami Solo as Kikau goes low on the tackle, and Max King up top. Back for Crossland. Now here to Matt Croker, and he's trying to just penetrate that 20-metre line here for the Newcastle Knights. Crossland across to Sandon Smith. Oh, it's been lost by Fletcher Hunt. Another error from the fullback. Live ball bounces out in the path of the Bulldogs, and it's settled down there by Matt Burton, who will start a new set now for Canterbury, 15 out from their own line. The Knights still lead 4-0 over the Doggies here, which is unexpected. Certainly early days yet. We've played 16 minutes in this first half on ABC Sports so far. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruwan Sims, Galvin taken high in there by Jermaine McEwen. Ref says nothing doing. And now Anari Tuwala is put down 35 out from his own line. Tackle 4, Hayward. Blindside right here. Oh, Galvin absolutely polarised there by Jacob Safiti. Who played here the young halfback to Hayward. Play rolls on. King into a 3-man wall of Newcastle Knights. Now a loose ball here has come off, I think, McEwen in there. It's knock on both ways. It was Canterbury first, did he say? Connor touched it.
Newcastle.
Yeah, scrum Newcastle. There you go. So that's what is happening here. Newcastle 4, Canterbury 0.
Yeah, well, poor Lockie Galvin, he copped 2 big hits early on in that set, and the biggest one being the second from Jacob Safiti. He absolutely levelled him, and it sort of lifted the Newcastle defence. They got in the face of the Bulldogs Bulldogs ball carriers, and they force the error midfield. And once again, the Knights are going to get an opportunity to play some attacking football. We've seen them go right a number of times to some success. On the last occasion when they went that way, there was a bit of an adjustment from Stephen Crichton, jumping up, putting pressure on and forcing the area himself.
Loving the call as always. A beautiful day here in Bolivia. Bulldogs all the way. Thank you for your text. We'll send that 0467 920 222. Newcastle leads the Bulldogs here 4-0, and there is number 4, Bradman Best, 35 out from Canterbury's line. Play it now for his dummy half in Crosslander. Now Safidi takes 3 Bulldogs to stop him. 25 out now. Crossland gets busy at dummy half to Shannon Smith. And now across to Sharp and Gagai. Burnt one tackle. Big fend there on Carraz. No support there for Gagai apart from Young on the outside. The veteran Gagai has tackled 20 out. 5 in from that eastern side. And now Smith back for McEwen. Good chase from behind from Kickout. Last play, Knights who lead 4-0. Crossland goes blindside right. Smith kick here to the corner. And again, Connor Tracy with desperate stuff. Bats it dead, or bats it out touching goal with Dom Young bearing down on him. So it remains Newcastle 4, Canterbury 0. Line drop out. Bulldogs, let's go back to the touchline. Ruan Sims.
Well, the scorecard at the moment between Fletcher Hunt and Stephen Crichton is about 1-1. Fletcher Hunt put on this beautiful move a couple of sets ago, absolutely burned Stephen Crichton, and then Crichton hit back with some really good defence. But yet again, that left edge D has been found out by the Knights' right edge attack.
Another short dropout taken here by Matt Burton. And launching up Fletcher Hunt. Did it go sideways? No, he's saying knock on Newcastle. Hang on. No, he's saying it was...
Yeah, he's saying Preston got a touch to it to knock it forward.
Yeah, okay.
Fletcher Hunt with the knock on in response. So Newcastle again, they're getting a lot of possession down this end of the field. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they do, as Ruan just mentioned, and go back to their right edge.
Scrum feed 20 out centre field here for the Newcastle Knights, who lead 4-0. Missy on the mount. Great hearing you, Brett Dean, and the radiant Ruan Sims. Cheers from Forever Fan Missy, and my prayers for the Knights. Chris in Canberra says, wow, $5 pies, that's $1 per piece of meat. Thank you, Chris. And I get the more of your text as Newcastle swing it wide here. Fletcher Hunt trying to just weave back on the inside of Matt Burton, and Crichton is sandwiching him there as well. Gagai waits at dummy half. Newcastle 4-0 leads Canterbury Bankstown here at Stadium Australia. And again, Pasami Solo, tackled by Hayward. Plays it quickly there for Crossland, and now back here to Dylan Lucas, who's back in the action. So it's back to 13 on 13. Play it 5 out left-hand side of the post. Crossland off here again to Croker. Gets away from Kickout, floats to Crossland. Sanders Smith like a ragdoll was slung to the deck by Stephen Crichton. Play it 12 out now. Second last Newcastle. It's come from Sharp to Hunt. The Fletchers combined. Gagai push it wide there. It was flat to Dominic Young, and he flattened Connor Tracy in turn. He's run down deep in that northeastern corner. Last play, Knights are a metre away. Can they score their second try? As the kick comes in from Shannon Smith, Connor Tracy fills it in the in goal, and Safidi drags him out over the dead ball line. So, line drop out again here for Canterbury. They still trail 4-0, 20 gone, 20 left, first half. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport, then Holland's out.
They go straight back to their right edge, the Newcastle Knights, and they almost poke through. It was a really tidy set again. They're really challenging the edge defence of the Bulldogs, particularly their left, as we keep harping on, but they are able to get the repeat set. They'll get another 6, and again, they're going to go back that way.
So it does go, it doesn't go on 10, so no Bulldogs can touch it as Hayward, went about probably 6 minutes in the end. So it'll be Newcastle's possession, 10 metres out from that northern line, which Canterbury are defending. Go Cyril and the Dogs. How about a pie with dead horse and a beer for $10? Great call, guys. Tony and Veronica in Hoi An, Vietnam. Nice to hear from you, Tony and Veronica. I don't know what pies and beers are going for in Vietnam, though. I'm sure it's probably less than $10 Australian. Here's Matt Croker. 13 out from that northern line. Opportunity here for the Knights, who lead 4-0. Crossland onto Pasami Solo and Hayward and Kickout. He's within the in-goal area here, but he's just held up behind the padding of the right-hand upright. 19 left first half. It's been extraordinary here from the Newcastle Knights, who have been down a man, but they've, as I said, back to 13 on 13. Don Young scored in the 6th minute. Still only 4-0 here as it comes from right to left Newcastle. Bradman Best takes on Tuwala. They've had 53% ball, Newcastle. Doesn't seem that way at times. Marju back across here now for Fletcher Sharp. Now Crossland. Inside ball to Safidi, and he stands in the tackle of Max King. Now we'll play it 10 metres out. Crossland across to Croker, and now Shannon Smith. Confusion there for Hunt, who throws the ball wide for Dom Young. Takes on Carraz and Crichton. Dom Young is tackled 13 out, 5 in from the eastern side. Last play, Knights. They had a weight of repeat possession against the Bulldogs' defensive line. Up goes the last play, kick from Smith. Brendan Best puts a kick in himself. Kickout was there to it first behind the goals and knocks it dead. So guess what? Potentially here, more Newcastle possession, Dean Alatau, as they lead 4-0 with a line dropout.
Smart work, Spriggy, from Bradman Best. He goes up for the ball. He's uncontested in the air. As soon as he hits the ground, he's thinking, I've got to get it in, try and get my team a result with potentially a repeat set, which is what he comes up with. But they just keep peppering either side, the Newcastle Knights, and it goes again for the long one.
So it is a long line dropout. Bounced over the halfway line. Safidi missed it, so he's forced even further back here, Jacob Safidi, and runs back into the defensive line here, or the other 40-metre line here. So in Bulldogs territory, play quickly there towards Fletcher Sharp, a dummy half. Sends the pass wide now to Basami Solo. One-time Māori All-Star many years ago, former Raider, and now it's back with Dylan Lucas. Centre field 25 out. Set restart Newcastle. So they lead 4-0 and have a set restart inside Canterbury's red zone. And again, Basami Solo gets within 9 metres this time. We'll play it there for Crossland. Off here towards Croker. Goes left, now right. Takes on Galvin and kick out. Right-hand side of the post. He stopped 5 metres shy here for the Newcastle Knights on play 3. Crossland goes to left. Oh, it's been lost cold by Solo. And gathered now by Jacob Preston. Canterbury at last get the footy, Dean Alatau. They trail 4-0 at the hands of Newcastle.
Yeah, Basami Solo in a first receiver kind of position, looking to play on to his outside in Fletcher Sharp, but unfortunately he has a look out, thinking about what he's going to do. Comes up with a clumsy error, and it was much needed for the Bulldogs, who have been under the pump defensively for a long time now.
16:40 left first half here at Stadium Australia with Brett Sprigg, Dean Alatau, Ruan Sims down to Roo shortly. Hayward at dummy half, a quick pass off to Galvin, who's run down from behind by Lucas. Set restart the Bulldogs way here on the halfway line. So now here's Josh Curran, who gets involved. His first run of the game off the bench. Tackled 7 metres inside Newcastle territory. Hayward, a flat ball from dummy half. Burton to kick out and pops out the offload here. Back to his dummy half. Hayward finds Salmon, and now Curran off here to Satili Tupanua, and he'll play at 25 out. Hayward off to Curran, slips over here before Safidi could get him, so he does surrender there as Hayward at dummy half on tackle 4, off to Galvin. Now Preston to within 8 metres of Newcastle's lines. Their best thrust for a while in this game, the Bulldogs, who trail 4-0. Hayward across here to Tracy, to Curran. Big hit from Basami Solo. 5 out right in front of the post, and Curran is still down. And he is writhing in pain. Ruan Sims, you had a good view of that from down there.
Yeah, we can just see the Newcastle players getting around Basami Solo. That was a huge hit. There's nothing illegal in that. He just hits him hard, right in the ribs, and he lands right with that shoulder up under the rib cage there. And you can hear the fans here. They didn't appreciate it, but I tell you what, Josh Curran is feeling a little bit of pain at the moment as Basami Solo is getting a well-earned rest.
There was at least some whiplash in there from Josh Curran as he hit the deck, so he's still in the hands of the trainers at the moment here, Josh Curran. It remains Newcastle 4, Canterbury 0, 15:40 left in this first half. 0467 920 222. Loving the call as always, keeping us entertained while harvesting sorghum near Corindi from Spud and George. Good on you, Spud and George. Love to hear from our farmers in all parts of the country who make this country go around.
Just watching Jacob Preston as well. He copped a knock. It looked like a cork or a clash of knees with Jacob Saifidi after the last dropout return. So he was a bit lame in getting up, and he's sort of nursing that right leg. You couple that with an injury potentially here to Josh Curran. It's a little bit of war stations here for the Bulldogs.
Welcome those that have joined us through the ACT, by the way, from the AFL coverage where Brisbane beat St Kilda at Docklands. This is NRL Saturday on ABC Sport with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruan Sims. The break in play here is Josh Curran got a big hit from Pasami Solo. Canterbury trails Newcastle 4-0 here at Stadium Australia. It's their first home game for the new campaign, looking to defend their unbeaten record of 2-0 so far. The Knights beaten last start with a good start here at least. Have the only points in the game through their winger Dominic Young. So you can keep your texts coming, 0467 920 222. One text just says, Spriggsy, you're not wrong. I appreciate that, whoever's talking about, but, you know, I'll take it. Galvin to Burton, puts in a stab kick here as Dom Young fields it deep in that southeastern corner of the ground, and Newcastle will go back on the attack. Go around the ground shortly as well, with quite a few things happening in the wonderful world of sport. On their own 10-metre line, Dane Gagai falls in the tackle there of Jamin Salmon. Shannon Smith across here now for the Newcastle Knights, and he links up with young fella Cody Hopwood, who debuted round 27 last year against Parramatta. It's only his second career game, the former West Maitland Wallaroo, a local junior. And now, last play kick from Crossland from deep inside 40. It goes straight though onto the chest of Connor Tracy. Centre field 20 out here for Canterbury Bankstown. So he skipped to the defensive line, taken there by Dylan Lucas, who, in case you missed it, was penalised earlier. Sin bin for a professional foul under bizarre circumstances. He went to tackle Connor Tracy while time was off as he was taking it back to the 3-metre line for a 7-tackle set. Haywood back here now comes to Jacob Perez, who's 5 inside Newcastle territory. Play 4 here for the Bulldogs as Haywood finds Siltali Tupanua. Tackled by Hopwood, and also out there was Tyson Friselle. Tip back here for the Bulldogs. Tracy finds Tawala. Last play, Doggies, 35 out, 20 in from the western side. 14 left in the first half. The first of our 3 Saturday games. A high spiralling ball from Burton. He does that so well. Hunt doesn't compete. Does it to bounce back here for the Bulldogs. Still the last goal. Tracy swats it back to his teammate Burton. That pass was somehow okay for Crichton, and he kicks down the line here. The bouncing ball taken by Fletcher Hunt. A far more straightforward task for the fullback there, who's dropped one of Matt Burton's high balls earlier, and Fletcher Hunt is claimed 25 out from his own line. The Knights will start a new set from there. They lead 4-0, 13 and a half left of the break here in Hallertau.
A new strategy for Fletcher Hunt. If you don't have a crack at it, you can't drop it. He let it bounce, and he kind of reeled away from the ball. He didn't want anything to do with it. They still get the ball back to Knights, but throughout that last set for the Dogs, we've seen Josh Curran head up the tunnel, so he was nursing the midsection there, probably the sternum or ribs, as we thought was the case.
Get back to Ruan Sims very shortly as Crossland goes to the right-hand side. It's tipped wide. Smith, Gagai. You can hear the calls of forward there from the Canterbury players. And alas, Dominic Young will not be allowed to charge upfield for his second try of the game. Touchline we go, Ruan Sims.
Well, both right edge attacks just seem to be finding plenty of space. I'm sure that both coaches will be addressing the left edge defence through some intermediaries and definitely at half time, but they both look quite good when they're on the fly. They're finding little bits of space there, so I'm excited to see them get a bit more football in some clean air though.
Derek and Ann from Howard, Queensland. What are they for rugby league? Spriggy. Broncos win. Yahoo! Something smells fishy. Get the Eagles have the best call. Derek and Ann, our loyal texters. Thank you, Derek and Ann. Go Knights, says David Nowra. Another text here says go Bulldogs. Don't be afraid of the Dragons. So a centre field scrum here for the Bulldogs, just inside Newcastle territory, as Crichton brings it away left-hand side of the park. Tackled by McEwen. Now it's going to be a set restart here, so play 1. Haywood at dummy half. Back here to Jamin Salmon, and it takes 3 Knights to stop him. 28 metres out from that southern line in front of that big giant TV screen, the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere, by the way. Galvin inside ball to Tupanua, and Tupanua is 19 metres shy of Newcastle's line. The Knights lead 4-0 at the hands of the Doggies. They lead the Doggies here on the right-hand side. Tawala spins off the tackle there of Fletcher Sharp, and he'll play it 2 metres out from Newcastle's line. Hayward first receiver this time. Galvin. They go from right to left with a big shift. Friselle takes down Lockie Galvin. 17 out now on this second last play. Hayward, Tracy, inside ball to his captain, Crichton. Will bring it back here to Lachlan Galvin. He kicks for Bradman Best, who was there first in front of the posts. And Newcastle will regain possession. Only 5 out from their own line at Southern End. They lead, though, 4-0. 11 left in the first half in Hallertau.
Yeah, I don't mind that option from Lockie Galvin. There is space in behind the line, particularly when they're coming from the far edge and the fullback isn't quite in position. But the chase wasn't on the task there from the Bulldogs, and Bradman Best did a great job to scoop the ball up, just pivot on the spot and get his team out of trouble.
Cody points out Spriggy Dogs no world beaters if still nil at this time in the first half. Well, yeah, still no points to the Bulldogs, so how vulnerable are they? Early stages yet. Newcastle, low ball from Friselle, and this will be last play where Dylan Lucas is tackled. Now 40 out, and again kick downfield from Fletcher Sharp. Will bounce there for Connor Tracy. Dogs go on the advance with Jacob Carraz, 25 out from his own line before he's stopped by Lucas and also Hopwood and also Friselle in there. 30 out, dead centre field. 10 minutes left, 25 seconds on top of that. Newcastle 4, Canterbury 0 here at Stadium Australia. First of your 3 Saturday games. Of course, we'll preview Penrith and Parramatta up next as well at half time. 8 metres shy of that halfway line is where Crichton will be playing it. Hayward scoops it off the deck, goes and finds Kurt Mann. And of course, former Newcastle Knight, Kurt Mann. Over halfway they go. Mann will play it there for Hayward. Galvin onto it now. Preston gains a quick 8 metres. 35 out centre field is going to be last play here for the Bulldogs. Still trailing 4-0. Hayward comes blindside right. Galvin puts up the kick. Tracy's chasing it. Fletcher Hunt will launch. It's come off the back, out the back from him to Harrison Graham, also off the Newcastle bench. So he'll play it now, 10 out from his own line. The Knights keep a 4-0 lead here, Dino, as Bradman Best gets involved as well. Yeah,
they really are peppering Fletcher Hunt at the back there, aren't they? Testing out his aerial skills. And it was Connor Tracy, the opposing fullback, coming through on that occasion. But fortunately for the Newcastle Knights, the ball goes backwards. The point about the Dogs not scoring up to this point of the game, that they have struggled to score points, which has been something they've worked on hard. The defence is great, but on the other side of things, just struggling a bit.
Hopwood tackled, plays it now here from dummy half. Harrison Graham spins it to the right-hand side. Last play kick up in the air for Connor Tracy, and he'll run it upfield here, 20 out from his own line. Tackled by McEwen, and now off the deck, Burton from dummy half. A quick pass off here to Carraz. Shoves out the offload back for Burton. Still alive here, the Bulldogs on play 2. Left to right they come. Tuwala is claimed now, 8 minutes short of the halfway. It remains Newcastle 4, Canterbury 0, 8.5 left in this opening 40. Over halfway they go through Montoya. Play it now for Hayward. And now Salmon. Delayed pass off here to Kurt Mann and brought down here again by Harrison Graham. 35 out. Canterbury here. Hayward to Galvin to Tuwala. Takes the tackle there of Bradman Best. Last play, Canterbury, as you heard there from referee Peter Goff, as Hayward comes across open side left. Galvin to Burton. This is just a straightforward drop punt off his preferred left boot. High in the air again. Carraz lost it on the last changeover. Newcastle will have possession. 20 out from their own line. Southern End, they lead 4-0. 7:50 left in this first half of 40. Let's head back to the touchline. Rowan Sims.
Well, no update just yet for Josh Curran, but I will let you guys know as soon as I find out anything else. But with 8 minutes left, unfortunately the Bulldogs have been held up over the line a couple of times, unable to post points, like our listener said.
7.5 left before the break. As I mentioned, coming up next, Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis, Michael Carianis to preview Penrith and Parramatta at Western Sydney Stadium. Later on, the Cowboys and the Storm in Townsville, Quentin Hull, Lockie Coote and Laurie Spina. Here's a nice one over halfway. Good break here made by Harrison Graham. Newcastle still going through Graham. And Graham gets to within 13 metres of that northern line. They're going to set restart too. So a full set for Marcus Knight Square. Fletcher Sharp, Sandon Smith. Back again here to the young fella Hopwood. He'll play it 10 away, left-hand side of the post. Can they get their second try? The Newcastle Knights. Shannon Smith back to McEwen. Steamroll Tupanua, who'll play it 4 away from Canterbury's line. Off here it comes to Friselle, who burst through. He got the pass from Graham, and Tyson Friselle scores one of the easiest tries you'll see. Right-hand side of the post, and the Knights are in again. 8-0 Newcastle, kick to come. 6.5 left first half. Big Frizz with a big try, and the Knights just keep the points coming, Dino.
Yeah, they're looking good, aren't they? And it was all set up by a great run at a dummy half by Harrison Graham. He shows a big dummy to his left. It opens up straight through the middle of the field. He obviously didn't have the legs to get there. He got wound up pretty quickly by the cover defence, but when he's into good territory, it just gets him on the front foot. They get a 6 again as well for the slow peel in the ruck. And when they get back across the other side, McEwen absolutely skittles Satili Tupanua, as you mentioned. The quick play the ball off the back of that. Tyson Friselle, he comes straight through middle of the park, and the man who started it all, Harrison Graham, throws a nice little short ball to get his front row across.
So Tyson Friselle scores a try, and he's 85th first grade game. Tyson Friselle will get to Ruan Sims very shortly, as this kick will come quickly from Shannon Smith. He's directly in front, 12 metres out. He missed the first one for lack of Dominic Young's 6-minute try. He should have no issues here to make it a 10-0 Newcastle scoreline with 5.5 left of the break. Shannon Smith in his 50th first grade appearance. Well, the crowd don't like it. The Bulldogs had plenty of work to do in the second half, and indeed in the last minutes left to the break. Smith directly in front, makes no mistake, makes it Newcastle 10, Canterbury 0 here at Stadium Australia. Touchline we go, Ruan Sims.
Well, Tyson Frizelle's role has changed a little bit for the Newcastle Knights. He is a stalwart of the club. He's been there for a long time, very talented former Origin player as well. But he's been starting off the bench for them, and he provides a lot of leadership and a lot of punch there, and he is playing in the middle. We're so used to seeing him playing on an edge back row position, but you just see whatever challenge gets thrown his way, he jumps in there, and what more deserving person than a 4-pointer right under the sticks for Tyson Friselle.
Around the grounds, Jersey Flag, second half, Bulldogs 32, Newcastle 16. In Super Rugby, second half, Hurricanes 24, Reds 14. And I mentioned full-time in the AFL, Brisbane beat St Kilda by 113 to 80. Get to your text as well as we go, 0467 920 222. Marju receives a high kick-off and just runs it back himself into the defensive line. Takes the hit up on resumption. And now Dylan Lucas going to quick dozen here as well for the Newcastle Knights, who now lead 10-0 with these 2 first half tries. And they swing it across from left to right here, the Newcastle Knights, in bright sunny conditions here at Stadium Australia. And again, that man Harrison Graham, the young fella in jersey number 19. Goes for a darting run. Tackled by Tupanua. Play at 40 out now. Crossland, the usual dummy half. Goes to the right-hand side. McEwen thought he had the gap there, but Burton legged him. It'll be last play Newcastle. 25 out, 12 in from the eastern side. Open side left, they move it now. Harrison Graham will kick off the instep. It'll bounce in front of the post. Who's there? Tawala. Grounds it defensively. So, it'll be a goal line dropout again for the Bulldogs. Potential repeat set coming up here for the Newcastle Knights, who lead 10-0 with 4 minutes left in the first half in Howartown.
Oh, that's an amazing set again from the Newcastle Knights. They get about 60 metres off the running metres, but then on last play, they run into a dead end, and Sanders Smith swings it back the other side. Once again, Harrison Graham gets the ball, throws it off the inside of the boot, as you said. Perfect kick for his chasers to get the repeat.
So, short drop out, goes 15 metres on the full. Getting there first was Galvin, I think, for the Bulldogs. No, it's going to be Jacob Preston who launched. Meanwhile, an issue for a Newcastle player in back play. Phoenix Crossland just down holding his face as play continues not far away from him. Hayward 20 out from his own line here from the Bulldogs will shift it across to Satili Tupanua. 3:25 left in this first half as ref Peter Goff does call time off or pause play there. Phoenix Crossland just getting mopped up, I think. Got a blow to the schnoz maybe. Actually, it was in the when Fletcher Hunt launched. Oh, his head sandwiched between both Preston and his teammate Fletcher Hunt.
Yeah, that looked very, very uncomfortable, and rightfully so. Phoenix Crossland left on the ground after that. It was a straight out sandwich. He gets a thigh, maybe even the knee, straight to his face from his teammate, and this will hold things up here. The Bulldogs haven't been able to generate any momentum. This will hamper that, but Phoenix Crossland, as we would suspect, and watching, he's coming straight to the sideline for a HIA.
Yeah, he's coming straight off for one, Sims. Down to you on the sideline.
Yeah, he's coming straight off. A little bit of claret coming from the nose there. He'll head straight up the tunnel. Good news, Josh Curran has just come back out. And bad news, Josh Curran is also heading straight back up the tunnel. He did have some padding around that rib, and I'm assuming got some kneeling done, but he did a little bit of a run and he did not look comfortable.
It was his second carry of the game, and he was absolutely poleaxed by Basami Solo in front of the uprights. As Preston, now the back row, puts in a kick. He's chasing his own kick. Now he soccers out of the air. Up through centre field. Galvin's chasing it too, but the Newcastle defence watches that ball and takes it there. Marju tackled 11 out from his own line. Knights lead the game here 10-0 over the Bulldogs at Stadium Australia. 2:45 left. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruan Sims, NRL Saturday on ABC Sport, and we'll preview Panthers Eels very shortly. 25 out. Tackled and playing it now, Bradman Best. Dummy half, Harrison Graham. Now Dom Young falls over 30 out from his own line. Second last here for the Newcastle Knights. Still time for more points before the halftime break. 5 short of the halfway. One of those try scorers, Friselle. Tucker brings it back here. It comes to Sandon Smith. Puts up the high kick. 20 out from his own line. Carraz does launch for it. Brings it down uncontested. And now a share it by hand to Tracy. Onto Montoya. But Bradman Best was chasing him and stops him 25 out. 2 minutes left before half-time. Still Newcastle 10, Canterbury 0 here on ABC Sport. Tawala, 30 out from his own line for the Bulldogs. Haywood now across to Carraz. And 3 Knights around him. Pops out the offload. Haywood off to Galvin, who knocks it on. So another Canterbury error. I'll go through the stats as I get to the halftime break, but it remains here. The important stat is the scoreboard. Newcastle 10, the Bulldogs 0.
Yeah, it's a bad error there from Lockie Galvin. Again, just taking his eyes off the ball, thinking about what he was going to do once it was in his hands. And the Newcastle Knights get good possession once more. They'll look to play their expansive football, and it's been a weird half for the Bulldogs. It's been an entertaining contest back and forth. Pretty good game, but the Bulldogs haven't done a lot with it in hand.
7 errors to 5. The Bulldogs have had more of those. Centre field scrum here for the Knights, 35 out. Bradman Best, a good post contact gain here as he's 25 out, 20 in western side. Minute left in the game, in the half. Newcastle leads 10-0. Inside ball comes from Sandon Smith to Matt Croker, and he's claimed 22 out centre field. Play it now for Graham at dummy half. Back to Sandon Smith. On to Cody Hopwood, the second gamer. 15 out, 20 in eastern side this time. They do come open side left. Smith off to Fletcher Sharp with the burst, and now the finish from Lucas. Dylan Lucas makes it 3 Newcastle tries in the first half. The Bulldogs are stunned in their first home game for the new campaign. It's 14-0 Newcastle. Kick to come as we're about to hit half-time.
Well done to the Newcastle Knights. They draw everything in on that right-hand side of theirs. The Bulldogs actually stacked their short side defensively. They had 4 on the short side, which meant there was going to be a lot of space out wide, or at least some that appeared as they shifted the ball. And they get it out to their left, and it was a short, I think, Xiaomi Mi kick out, popped out of the line to try and put some pressure on Fletcher Sharp. But he gets the second man on the end of that little mini shift. Fletcher Sharp cuts back off the right foot, I should say, into the space that's created. And then Dylan Lucas does a great job to support, catch the ball under the pressure of Jacob Preston, but shows enough strength and leg drive to get through.
Scores his 15th career try, Dylan Lucas, and his first of the new season. And the kick will come from Sandon Smith after the halftime hooter. 17 out, 20 in from the western side. Touchline we go, Ruan Sims.
Well, I'm just watching a replay of Newcastle coach Justin Holbrook absolutely loving what his team is putting on display this afternoon. It was kick out that tried to shoot up and put pressure on Sandon Smith, but the footwork of Fletcher Hunt was just too good. He found that little bit of space, and Dylan Lucas, after spending 10 minutes in the bin earlier in the game, gets a 4-pointer.
Bulldogs fans have seen enough for this half. They're headed to the various
$5 pies.
Yeah, $5 pies, of course, here this afternoon. We see 2 more points here. Shannon Smith is 1 from 2 this afternoon. Slight angle left-hand side, the 50 gamer. And he comes and makes it a half-time scoreline of Newcastle 16, Canterbury Bankstown 0. What a first half from the Newcastle Knights, who are missing a lot of their best players. It's been a spirited first 40 from the Newcastle Knights, and can they keep it up in this in the second half to come, and indeed inflict the Bulldogs' first defeat of the new year upon them? Dean Hallertau, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, a great performance, as you say, from the Newcastle Knights. They've come with a real purpose in mind and a structure, and they've stuck to it throughout the whole first half. We've seen them right the Bulldogs left on a number of occasions, which you look over at that left-hand side for the Bulldogs and you think Stephen Crichton, Matt Burton on the edge there, I think it's Jacob Kiraz. I thought that was a strong side defensively that could hold up, but the Newcastle Knights have kept going there. Early joy through Dominic Young, and then they've just been able to repel the Bulldogs in their own line. Once they get the ball, they get straight on the front foot, get up the other end of the field and start applying pressure. So, look, it was low scoring through. The points came at infrequent periods, but it was definitely an all Newcastle first half. I love the work that Sandon Smith is doing at 7. He's not overplaying it. He's got in there at the park really well, and the injection of Harrison Graham, he made an immediate impact when he came on the field. Got a huge break, set up a try, and he looks really crafty out of 9.
Dominic Young after 6 minutes, Tyson Friselle in the 33rd, and Dylan Lucas just before half-time, the 3 try scorers. Dylan Lucas was also sin-binned for a professional foul early in that first half for his tackle on Connor Tracy. 16-0 the half-time score. Possession 56% Newcastle's way. Completions 77% Canterbury, 76% Newcastle. I mentioned their line breaks 4-3 Newcastle. Tackle breaks are plus 29 Newcastle's way. And the errors I mentioned, we've seen 7 errors to 6 Canterbury's way. Penalty count 1 all, and 4 set restarts to 3 the way of Newcastle. And so we'll get more on all of that. Rowan Sims, you mentioned just quickly, Josh Curran went back down to the sheds. Do we know why as he was coming back on?
Well, he had some strapping on that rib, and he came out and did a little bit of work just to test it out, and it did not look comfortable, so went straight back down. But they're being quite coy. They're not giving too much information away. I'm sure I'll be able to get more after the halftime break. But just want to touch on what you mentioned about plus 29, that difference between tackle breaks between the two teams. For everyone at home, that's 37 missed tackles that the Bulldogs had in 40 minutes of football. That's not good enough, and that is not what the Bulldogs' defensive system is about. And I'm sure that Cameron Ciraldo will be addressing that at halftime.
Yeah, for a team that prides itself on its defence. Thank you, Roo. More from you very shortly. A couple of texts quickly, 0467920222. Woodsy in Northgate says, can we get a score prediction update from Grimesy, who earlier texted in saying Bulldogs by 1,000. Scott from Tweed says, can't see the Bulldogs by 1,000. Sorry, Grimesy. There we go. There's a few more here as well. Paul Wollongong says, Spriggy, you, Dean and Roo are never wrong. Oh, I don't know about that, Paul. Thank you. Yeah, someone texted in saying, you're not wrong. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I'll take it. And then just quickly, John from the South Coast. Last night's game, Broncos Dolphins. I thought the number 9 for the Finns guy gave 3 points to him as he was giving quick ball from play the ball and dashes from dummy half. Plus, when he received the ball on the run, was going forward into opposing players, making good meters, plus tackled anyone with the ball. Really top game. Thank you, John from the South Coast. I read Spud and George's text earlier, and there was another one here. Someone texted in from Bolivia, and Dave in the cab asks, was that text from South America authentic? I'm not sure if I believe you. Dan, working in Foster, says, best way to spend a Saturday work shift, listening to the call. Disappointed by my Finns, didn't get up last night. Always good to hear someone from Gerringong going well. Thanks for the call, Ruan. Thank you, Dan from Foster. 0467920222. Round the grounds quickly. Jersey Flag, second half. Bulldogs 32 lead the Knights 16. Super Rugby, Hurricane 36 lead the Reds 14. And in the Sheffield Shield final, Victoria now 9 for 260, who lead South Australia on first innings by just 62 runs. So that's what's happening there. Fergus O'Neill is 63 not out. He's usually a bowler. He's batting quite well with Scott Boland for that final Victorian wicket in a rain-affected Sheffield Shield final. We'll preview Penrith and Parramatta up next as well, happening just down the road at Western Sydney Stadium. But right now, with Newcastle 16, Canterbury 0, it's time for ABC News.
News with Satyam Weinstein. The Bureau of Meteorology says ex-tropical cyclone Narelle is still producing heavy rain and strong winds in Western Australia. The system's about 90 kilometres southeast of Marawa and is weakening as it heads inland. The subtropical low is expected to move off the Esperance coast early this evening. Duty forecaster Jessica Lingard says the severe weather warning's in place for large parts of the state.
It now extends just from around the Mount Magnet area and all the way down to the Esperance coast. It's for heavy rainfall and damaging wind gusts. So just with the remnants of that storm, we do still have some blustery conditions.
Brett Hopkinson lives at Hill Springs Station, about 140 kilometres northeast of Carnarvon. He says some properties in the area have been destroyed.
There's a fair bit of carnage around the place. My parents' house, they've lost their house, all the roofs and verandas and all that, all the ceilings fallen in, and most of the shearing shed gone and windmills gone and solar panels.
Australia will underwrite the delivery of additional shipments of fuel to ease concerns around global supply shortages. Political reporter Samantha Dick has more.
Today, the government has taken further steps to make sure that supply of fuel keeps coming to Australia in the months ahead. Basically, Labor wants to use public money to essentially underwrite the extra cargoes of fuel to ensure that we have enough coming to Australia for our own national security. So what it means is that the petrol giants will still buy the fuel, but the Australian government will agree to take on the financial risk to give buyers the confidence to purchase that extra fuel on the international market, where it will be very expensive, to ensure that Australia has enough supply of fuel coming here in the months ahead.
US President Donald Trump is continuing to claim negotiations are underway with Iran to end the war in the Middle East as fresh military strikes continue across the region. Here's Ali Crew.
Despite strong denials from Tehran, Mr. Trump says Iran is desperate to end the war and talks are underway.
They're being hit so hard, anybody would be negotiating. They are negotiating. They're begging to make a deal.
Meanwhile, the International Atomic Energy Agency says there's no danger to the public after Israel hit 2 facilities in Iran that process nuclear material. Iran has continued its attacks on Israel and Gulf states, with a missile strike on Tel Aviv leaving at least 1 person dead. And in Saudi Arabia, an Iranian drone and missile strike has reportedly hit Prince Sultan Air Base, with US media reporting 10 American service members were wounded and a number of refuelling aircraft were damaged.
Aid groups say the situation in Lebanon is worsening as Israel pushes ahead with its offensive against the Hezbollah militant group. It comes as the United Nations warns there's now no safe place for civilians to find shelter in the country. Dr. Sarah Nader from Doctors Without Borders says more than 1 million people have been displaced.
The last days we had waves of rain and cold weather affecting some parts of the countries, and the conditions are becoming even more challenging than before. We have many people sheltering, sometimes even outside or in plastic tents.
Golfing great Tiger Woods has been arrested following a car crash in the U.S. state of Florida. Chantal El-Khoury has more.
The former world number 1 has been charged with driving under the influence after his car clipped a pickup truck near his Florida home. The impact caused Tiger Woods' car to roll over. No serious injuries were reported. Local authorities say Mr. Woods took a breathalyzer test and there was no alcohol in his system, but he then refused to take a urine test. Investigators believe he was impaired by a drug or medication and have also charged him for refusing to submit to a lawful test. Chantal El-Khoury, ABC News, Washington.
Brisbane Broncos player Josiah Karapani has been issued with an infringement notice by police following a disturbance in Brisbane's nightlife precinct this morning. Liz Gwynn reports.
Queensland police say Karapani was handed an on-the-spot fine but was not taken into custody. In a statement, the Brisbane Broncos confirmed Karapani received an infringement notice for a public nuisance offence and a banned notice around 3:30 this morning in the Fortitude Valley. It's not yet clear why the 24-year-old was issued with the infringement notice, but the matter has been referred to the NRL Integrity Unit. Just hours earlier, the Brisbane Broncos defeated the Dolphins 26-12 in a thrilling match in Brisbane, which Karapani played a crucial part in.
And Bryce Cotton has scored the game winner as the Adelaide 36ers tied the NBL Championship Series 1-1 against the Sydney Kings, 91-89. ABC News.
New inspiration from ABC Books. The author of The Vagus Nerve Reset brings you a new toolkit for calming your body and mind. Anna Ferguson's 21 Days to a Less Anxious You. Find it in bookshops and online.
ABC sports coverage of the 2026 NRL Premiership.
Tackled 40 out from his own line is Basami Solo. Now through hands, Smith to Hunt. Gagai to Dom Young in open space. Over halfway he goes. Inside support, dummies. Takes on Tracy and goes the rest of the way himself. Dominic Young on a 65-70-metre run to score the first points of the game. Knights 4, Canterbury 0, kick to come Newcastle. Hayward across here to Tracy to Curran. Big hit from Basami Solo. 5 out right in front of the post and Curran is still down.
Yeah, we can just see the Newcastle players getting around Basami Solo. That was a huge hit. There's nothing illegal in that. He just hits him hard, right in the ribs, and he lands right with that shoulder up under the rib cage there.
Can they get their second try? The Newcastle Knights. Shannon Smith back to McEwen. Steamroll to Benua, who'll play it 4 away from Canterbury's line. Off here it comes to Friselle, who burst through. He got the pass from Graham, and Tyson Friselle scores one of the easiest tries you'll see. Right-hand side of the post, and the Knights are in again. 8-0 Newcastle, kick to come. 6.5 left first half. 15 out, 20 in eastern side this time. They do come open side left. Smith off to Fletcher Sharp with the burst, and now the finish from Lucas. Dylan Lucas makes it 3 Newcastle tries in the first half. The Bulldogs are stunned in their first home game for the new campaign.
ABC sports coverage of the 2026 NRL Premiership.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Yeah, stunning first half from the Knights, who lead Canterbury 16-0 here at Stadium Australia. Up next, it is the Panthers and the Eels, which you'll hear with Maury Lurie at MC. Hello, Andrew.
Spriggy, Penrith has won 4 in a row against Parramatta and looking to continue an unbeaten start to this season, taking on the Parramatta Eels, who prior to the last couple of years had a great record against the Penrith Panthers. Just waiting for confirmation of the team news. Referee Todd Smith, Liam Kennedy in the bunker. It's a mainly fine but cool day here at Western Sydney Stadium. The gates are not yet open. Luke Lewis, good afternoon to you, former premiership winner with the Penrith Panthers. It's hard to see anyone at the moment toppling Penrith, but Parramatta will back themselves having won their last 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to be here. I can't wait for this game, the Battle of the West. It's always a great game to be at. But one thing I have learnt and played in plenty of these Battle of the West is that it does not matter how good you're going or where you're sitting. It just comes down to who turns up on the day. But look, I do believe the Penrith Panthers are the team to beat. I feel like they're leaps and bounds in front of everyone. But this is the only danger game for them today that I see coming up over the next couple of weeks. So I reckon they'll be switched on. They'll be ready to rock and roll. We've seen the whole team out there a little bit earlier, and they were looking pretty sharp. They look nice and relaxed as well.
Michael Carianis, good afternoon to you once again. The Eels, after a horrendous start where they conceded 50 against Melbourne, they've bounced back nicely, haven't they?
Yeah, they were okay against the Dragons last week, did enough to win that game. I want to see Mitch Moses run the ball a bit. His running game just hasn't been apparent so far to start this year. So if there's any chance of beating the Panthers, it's all got to come off their number 7.
Yeah, and the Eels bench last Sunday, Louis, were fantastic, weren't they? Particularly Talon De Silva, who got your 3 points, despite only being on the field for 20-odd minutes, and Sam Tuivasa, they changed the course of the game.
Yeah, they did. They come on, they took it up a notch. But the game last week, they were sort of thereabouts. It was ebb and flow. And when Talon De Silva come on, he just lit up the middle of the field. I thought his footwork through the middle of the field. He scored a couple of really nice tries. He really brought the energy to Parramatta. Then they got into the game from there. So I don't think that they can afford to do that against Penrith. If they rock up today and expect someone to come on, or just an individual, person's little bit is going to change the energy of this game, it ain't going to work. Penrith can be, start slow and still build into this game. It doesn't matter how it's going to work. So for this one, for Parramatta, it's an 80-minute performance tonight. This has to be the best game for Parramatta this early in the stage. They have to compete for 80 minutes, and they have to do everything right. They can't afford to give away field position, because this Penrith side will make you pay no matter what.
All right, and can they score points against Penrith? They've only conceded 2 tries. So that's to come in just under an hour and a half. Spriggy, you've got a massive upset looming there at Stadium Australia.
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, indeed. We'll see if the Newcastle Knights can keep this going. 16-0 is the scoreline here. And, of course, we have 40 more minutes of footy before we head down the M4, just down the road to Western Sydney Stadium for the Battle of the West. Dean Hallertau, what's the Bulldogs' primary focus in this second 40?
Well, Ruan touched on it before half-time. It was, at half-time, it's the defensive misses. They've missed 37 tackles, I think she identified, and if you're going to miss 37 tackles, then it's going to be hard to keep a team out from scoring points. So shore that up first, and it's hard to know how they can overcome their attacking deficiencies.
Great job, as always, guys and girls. Jeff listening from south of Western Australia. Good on you, Jeff. Love the southwest of WA. Kick off here in the second half as Newcastle does lead 16-0. Marzu brings the footy back. He bounced off Anari Tawala, and he's claimed here 20 out from his own line, 15 in from the eastern side as they get the ball moving. So, mentioned by the way, in that first half, Tatili Tupanua, Kurtman and Josh Curran all used. Curran sort of came and went because of his issue. We saw him leave the field for after that big Basami Solo hit, while Friselle, Hopwood and Harrison and Graham all been used for the Newcastle Knights. So still one interchange player to be deployed in this second half if these teams do so choose. Inside ball comes from Friselle to Jermaine McEwen, and he's tackled 6 minutes inside Canterbury's half in the southern half of Stadium Australia. Sandon Smith, last play. Kick goes high down towards Jacob Carraz. 10 out from his own line, and the Bulldogs get their first set of the second half underway. Tracy across to Montoya, takes big strides, and Lucas stops him there. Crossland out there as well. We saw Crossland obviously cop that knock to the head in the first half, so at least he's back out there and no further issues for him. Anari Tawala, 40 out from that southern line. Tupanua on a straightening run to halfway. Brought down on play 3 as Canterbury Bankstown look for their first points of the game. Man, off to Burton. Angle run, makes the break. 40 out from Newcastle's line. Through the pass outside to Dane Gagai. So Newcastle bring it back. It was everything but the finish there from Matt Burton, who had a couple of options there, but he threw the pass behind his teammate, and Gagai picked it off. So Newcastle get the footy back here. Dom Young claimed 40 out, 20 in western side.
Yeah, well, looks so good there for the Dogs for a moment. Matt Burton slicing through, beats the initial line of defence, and as you said, he turns around to throw the ball to support, but the support has the wrong colour jersey on. Dane Gagai in chase, gets it, and opportunity gone begging there for the Bulldogs.
So Newcastle right over halfway here as Tatili Tupanua wraps up Dylan Lucas, the third of their 3 try scorers in the first half for Newcastle Knights. Inside ball from Sandon Smith, back to Jermaine McEwen. As I mentioned, debuted round 3 last year. His sister Eva, of course, also plays for the Knights. Last played Newcastle. Sandon Smith, the running kick. High it goes onto the chest of Connor Tracy, and he runs to that defensive line. 22 out from his own line here for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, who trails 16-0 at the hands of Newcastle. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruan Sims down the Roo very shortly as Montoya. It's been end-to-end stuff in these first 3.5 minutes of the second half. Anari Tawala, also a former Newcastle Knight, 5 short of the halfway. A play it for Hayward. Tracy's in best position here, shares it with Mann, and Friselle gets him, so too Harrison Graham. And he's run down here, Kurtman, 40 out, dead centre field. Hayward directs it right-hand side to Lockie Galvin, and he takes on Crossland. And Galvin is going to play at 35 out here on the last now for Canterbury. Burton puts up the kick, down towards Dom Young. He calls it, catches it. And he's put down here in the company of Jacob Carraz. Newcastle back on the attack. They lead 16-0. Ruan Sims down here on the touchline.
Well, messages from the sheds at halftime for the Bulldogs. Cameron Serraldo's had very, very disappointed with that first half. He wants their defence to be tightened up, and he wants them to play more direct with ball in hand. And also, Josh Curran does not appear like he will be back today with that rib cartilage issue. For the Knights, Justin Holbrook was very happy with the starting middles. He's challenging the bench middles to provide the same kind of platform to start this second half, but he wants them to wipe the slate clean, don't defend the lead, start again and play some football.
So that rib cartilage issue for Josh Curran. Thank you, Roo, as Newcastle kicks downfield at the end of the set. Tracy gets there, and is too quick for Tyson. Friselle just about gets him, but it's some friendly fire there on Jermaine McEwen, who's holding his nose. I don't know if he got a bit of contact there from his teammate in the process. Canterbury pressing up over halfway. 40 outs on the field. Rib cartilage. Well, he better not fly into state, Josh Curran, do any TV or media commitments. Otherwise, he might feel the wrath of some people. Doubt it. Here's Matt Burton, 30 out, 20 in for the western side. 4.5 played in the second half. Hayward across here to Salmon, and now man to Galvin. Preston in best position. Collected in there by Dylan Lucas and Fletcher Sharp. Hayward gets busy at dummy half. Tupanua runs straight to Frederick Crossland. Last play Canterbury. 12 out from Newcastle's line. Kurt Mann rips it left. The kick now comes from Burton. Fielded by Fletcher Hunt. Newcastle get the footy back and they keep that 16-0 lead at Dean Hallertau. 6 minutes played in the second half.
Yeah, well, they're going so good at the moment, the Knights, and Fletcher Hunt does a great job covering him behind the line like a good fullback, puts himself in good position, but he puts his body in the line as well with the low bouncing ball because it was a decent kick from the Dogs on the end of their set.
Bradman Best on the angled run at the left-hand side is tackled 8 short of halfway by Nari Tawala. And now Harrison Graham at dummy half. Comes to Friselle, and he stands in the tackle of kick-out on the last play for the Newcastle Knights, who lead 16-0. Back to Sandon Smith. A high probing kick down to Connor Tracy, 12 out from his own line. And he slips over here and surrenders on Dane Gagai. Someone texted and said, when the guy was hit by a big tackle, Brett, you said he was polarised. I think you meant polaxed. From your conscience. Thank you, conscience. No, I did. I meant pulverised. I end up saying polarised. Anyway, some players are polarising. Some commentators are as well. The Bulldogs 35 out from that southern line. Hayward across the right-hand side, 7. And now Tawala is taken down by Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Lucas. 5 short of the halfway. Second last here for Canterbury. Tupanua put himself in best position here on the pass from Mann, but he's taken down low by McEwen, up top by Friselle. It remains 16-0 Newcastle. Hayward finds Burton onto his captain Crichton. Kicks down that left edge here for the Bulldogs. Hunt on an awkward bouncing ball. Brings it back into the company there of Jacob Carraz. And it's been end-to-end stuff here so far in these first 7 minutes of the second half. And no change to our halftime score. Newcastle 16, Canterbury Bankstown 0. Dane Gagai goes prancing across Preston and now offloads back to Sandon Smith and kick out. Brought down Fletcher Hunt. Big tackle by the back rower. Newcastle play at 15 out from their own line. Sandon Smith back to Cody Hopwood. Still 20 out here on play 4. Second last here for the Newcastle Knights as Tyson Friselle gains a few more post-contact there in the Hayward and Tupanua tackles. This last play kick is clever there from Harrison Graham. Doesn't quite have the distance to be a 40-20 as it's picked up by Connor Tracy. Swung across here for Montoya, and the winger is tackled 25 out centre field. So it remains Newcastle 16, Canterbury 0. Set restart here going the Bulldogs' way. Can they make good use of this? Because, 16-0 is not unassailable, but the more this game goes on, with just over half an hour left as Galvin puts the fend there on Sandon Smith, brought down there by Graham. Metre short of halfway here for the Bulldogs. Graham, beg your pardon, Hayward dummy half off to Crichton. Offloads back to his dummy half in Hayward. Galvin goes 2 more fends here, but he's eventually stopped. 40 out centre field, back 30 out centre field now for the Bulldogs. Lockie Galvin, 20 years of age, will play it for Hayward. Across to Salmon and Tupanua. Straightening run there towards Friselle and also Dylan Lucas. Play at 20 out here for the Bulldogs, who trail 16-0. Galvin to Tracy. They go to the edge here as Tawala evades one. He got away from Bradman Best. And Tawala is within a metre of that Newcastle line. They'll play it there for Montoya. Second last play Canterbury. Right to left they come. Centre field Galvin to his captain Crichton. Set restart here for inside the 10. And it will come here to Carraz. Carraz in the corner shoves out the off on the bounce. Burton extracts the footy and plants it down on the first play of the new 6. Off the back of the set restart, the Bulldogs take full advantage and Matt Burton scores the try. So, 16-4, kick to come, Canterbury. At least a more positive start in this second half for the home side in Hallertau.
Yeah, and you can feel the energy lifting with the Bulldogs. Rowan mentioned one of the messages from Cameron Ciraldo was to run direct, play straight and hard, and that's been the theme for these opening 10 minutes for the Bulldogs. You can really notice the difference in their purpose when they're carrying the ball. That's enabled them to get down the other end of the field. Maybe a questionable pass on the end from Matt Burton to Carraz, but they put themselves there. They shift all the way out to the left. The late 6 again call comes from Peter Goff. And then Carraz, under all sorts of pressure near the sideline, he's able to wrestle that arm free, the right arm, and pop it over the top. Matt Burton just waiting patiently. He really didn't even probably expect the ball to come, but it bounces off the ground and untouched over the line to get things going for the Bulldogs.
That's that touchline, Rowan Sims.
And let's be clear for everyone at home, the Specky pass wasn't the impossible last pass either. It was actually the pass that Carraz received. I still can't believe he got the arms free to actually get that ball back in cleanly. And Matt Burton, like you said, just waiting to pounce on whatever came their way. There were 7 Knights jerseys around Carraz there. He did so well to keep the ball in play. And the home fans here, they love seeing their home team get on the scoreboard.
Would you say Carraz was corralled, Roo?
Oh, yeah, he was.
Carraz was corralled? Yeah, that kind of works. 20 out, 10 in here is Stephen Crichton. Kicked 3 out of 4 last week with 2 penalties and a conversion in their win over the Canberra Raiders. Captain Critter, as the big posters around the ground say, to make it 16-6. It's on its way and it's through. Newcastle 16. Canterbury Bankstown 6 here at Stadium Australia. 8 minutes gone in this second half. 0467 920 222. Late mail from Western Sydney Stadium. Luke Lewis wants 2 $5 pies. He would inhale those pies. Thank you, anonymous texter. That was Tim. Thank you, Tim, again. G'day from LA team. It's all red and blue here in the Hollywood Hills. Thanks for a wonderful call as always. Go Newcastle, says Zach, who's listening in Los Angeles. We have listeners far and wide. Good on you. Great to hear from you. And M from Mackay says, appreciate you all providing a mental escape as my 3.5-year-old twins help with the housework. Good on you, M. Great. We can keep you and the twins company here on this Saturday afternoon here on ABC Sport. And as we mentioned, Penrith Parramatta coming up next. Cowboys v Storm in Townsville later on as part of your Saturday offering on the national broadcaster. Hayward across here to Montoya, who's claimed 27 out. Does that Matt Burton try spark them from 16-6 to who knows where from here? Can Newcastle withstand this Bulldogs momentum? Hayward finds Jamin Salmon. 43rd game as a Bulldog. Played 44 at the Panthers, so it's going to be a record of sorts for him in a couple of weeks. Jamin Salmon. Tracy weaves back here on the tackle of Harrison Graham. Tackled 30 out. Last play Canterbury. Last play kick from Galvin. It's placed there for Tawala on Preston, who launches through the air. But of course, so it's going to be penalty Bulldogs. He was tackled in the air. Preston launched. He was wrapped up by Newcastle's defence as he was still landing. So, penalty Bulldogs to see if they can add to this 16-6, although they are trailing. Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, it's Marzu, and I think it's almost like Marzu catches him on top of him because he's waiting for the ball and then he can't help himself. He just grabs Preston and he's well and truly in the air. So, right call there and Canterbury roll on.
They do indeed. To Tupanua. So, penalty count 2-1 the Bulldogs. Scoreline 16-6 Newcastle. Canterbury deep inside Knights territory. Kurt Mann. Stop. 7 shy. Right in front of the uprights, northern end. Play it there for Bailey Hayward. Across now again, Galvin. Inside ball to Preston. Back within 7 metres now of Newcastle's line. Right hand side of the sticks. Hayward to Tupanua, who's too powerful, but he can't quite ground it. He'll play it an inch away from Newcastle's line. Hayward finds Galvin. Awkward low ball. Crichton's kick for the in-goal now. Picked up by the fullback in Fletcher Hunt. And he spins back into some Canterbury players there. Almost dragged back into the in-goals. The ref did call held. Peter Goff just making sure of it. He did call me say held. Or hear me say held. 16-6. Newcastle back on the attack with Dominic Young. 5 out from his own line. Matt Burton's just a little proppy in back play as well. And Greg Marzu comes up through centre field here for Newcastle. It's already play 4, still inside their own 20-metre line. 20 in from the eastern side as Safidi is tackled and playing it now. Harrison Graham dummy half to Friselle. Those two combined for a try in the first half. Still Newcastle 16, Canterbury 6, 13 going second half. Last play the Knights. Graham to Sandon Smith. Penetrating kick goes down, 25 out from Canterbury's line. Taken by the winger and Jacob Carraz. And Carraz is corralled again by the Newcastle defence, 35 out from that southern line.
Yeah, well, I spoke about the Bulldogs and their direct attack, one of the messages, but the other one was about their defence, and they've definitely shored things up in that regard. They're not allowing the Newcastle Knights to get far out of their half, and Sandon Smith's not the biggest kicker, so when they're putting pressure on, they're getting the ball in a good transition space well towards halfway.
14 going second half here on ABC Sport. It's Kurt Mann. Flat ball to Tupanua. Flat maybe at best, I reckon. On play 4 here for Canterbury Bankstown. Hayward sets up the 40-metre line. Pass in close quarters to Biliami, kick out. Spun the tackle, offloads back to Hayward. They spread Newcastle's defence here to the right-hand side. Galvin to Tracy, to Tawala, and Montoya on the outside. But the centre Tawala is tackled 20 out and fed in from the eastern side. Hayward here, second last. Again links up with Galvin. He dummies. Safidi wraps him up from behind. Play quickly there to Hayward, and now Matt Burton goes the lane himself. Slight dummy on a 20-metre run. Matt Burton scored back-to-back tries. The Dogs are in again. It is 16-10. Kick to come, Doggies.
Yeah, well, it's all set up by the speed of ruck that the Bulldogs are able to generate at the moment. They're playing the ball so fast, and they're catching a retreating Newcastle on almost every single play, all the way up until last there. It's a nice quick ball that gets out to Matt Burton. He can see that the Knights have had to turn quick on their line and try and reset themselves to take those first few steps. They're unable to do so. So he digs as far in as he can. I think the play the ball had come from Lockie Galvin. So he gets right in the line there. Matt Burton, he's able to slice through. The cover defence is unable to get across from the inside from McEwen. He gets the ball down, and the Dogs are roaring at the moment.
2 tries in 6 minutes for Matt Burton. Touchline, Ruan Sims.
Well, Dean touched on it. The ruck speed has been absolutely fantastic from the home side, and that's what's actually really helping them roll downfield. And when Cameron Zeraldo said he wants them to play direct, that doesn't just mean punching it one up through the middle of the field. That means whenever the ball is shifted, whoever receives it squares up on the correct defender, holds them in, and creates space for those outside attackers to run into. And that's exactly what happened in that play. Really smart play, really quite nice movement as well from the Bulldogs.
It's an identical position to kick here for Stephen Crichton. He committed the one a short time ago from this very same spot. 20 out, 10 in, western side right in front of us. Left foot goal kicker, 1 for 1 so far this afternoon. So all of a sudden, cut the margin back to 4 points. 16 gone, 24 left in this second half at Stadium Australia. And he comes. Crichton starts it right, brings it back beautifully. Newcastle 16, Canterbury 12 here on ABC Sport. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau and Ruan Sims, who we just heard from. Around the grounds, Jersey flag, full time. Canterbury have beaten the Knights 32-22. First half, Panthers and Eels 0 all. Queensland Cup, North Devils 4, leads Brisbane Tigers 0. In Super Rugby, still the second half there, the Hurricanes polarising the Reds 52-14 in the AFL first quarter in Perth. Fremantle and Richmond are yet to score a goal there. A-League second half, A-League women, Newcastle 2 leads Adelaide 1. And with Victoria all out in the Sheffield Shield final, they had that first innings lead of 63 runs, all out for 261. South Australia batting again in their second innings. You can hear a full call of that, by the way, via ABC Listen of the Sheffield Shield final. Canterbury go back on the attack here with 2 tries in this second half, both through Matt Burton to cut the margin back to just 4 points from that 16-0 half-time deficit. Salmon, play it there for Hayward. Play 4. Kickout's got some run. There's a quick 15 from Billy Kickout, and he'll play it 9 short of the halfway. Hayward across now to the right-hand side. Tracy to Galvin, Tuala, and Montoya runs within, but Tuala won't escape the clutches of Marzu, who'll play at 12 short of the halfway. Comes back to Galvin. Last play here for the Bulldogs. So Burton goes in high, spiralling torpedo gun. This time Dominic Young takes it cleanly. Knights go back on the attack. Dom Young stopped 20 out from his own line.
Yeah, this is not a side on Fletcher Hunt, but I'm pretty sure he said yours, Dom, yours.
He dropped the first one of the game, Fletcher Hunt. And who knows how the game would have gone if Canterbury had scored from that fullback error. But it's what Matt Burton does so well. I could just see that ball going through the roof of that Las Vegas Raiders training facilities, which we saw a few weeks ago. Bulldogs, of course, unbeaten for those first couple of games. These teams both began the year in Las Vegas. The Knights are 2-1. Safidi is captain today. Tackled just short of the 40-metre line. Play it there for Colson. No look pass from dummy half to Thomas Can. So that's their fourth player used off the bench. Friselle, Camp, Hopwood and Harrison Graham completes the Newcastle bench. As we come across here to Gagai, running kick bounces into the path of Connor Tracy. Dogs back on the attack, but Tracy stopped there by Gagai and Young. That right edge defence for Newcastle. Bulldogs back on the attack, 16-12 the scoreline.
Well, they're just really struggling at the moment for energy. Newcastle Knights wasn't a bad set, but they're immediately on the back foot as again the Bulldogs one out are really strong through the middle.
Play three as Montoya does go centre field that run. Hayward out to Galvin. They wasted no time there on play four. Couple left in the set now for the Bulldogs. Man, got away there from McEwen. Set restart Canterbury. Tip wide to Montoya. There's a task here for Fletcher Sharp. Brandon Best gets him in the end. Montoya feeds the ball back to Preston. It's picked up, in fact, by Galvin. Let go by Preston. And Lockie Galvin puts on the afterburners here before he's tackled 7 metres short of that Newcastle Knights line. Can they level things up here, the Bulldogs? Haywood across to Kurt Mann. Satili Tupanua to within 3.5 of that northern goal line right in front of the uprights. Play three Bulldogs. Haywood across now for Burton. Steps left, comes back right. Makes light work there of Thomas Cant. Burton still going. Dragged down by Lucas. Burton will play it there for Haywood. They come short side right. Lost by Lockie Galvin. Well, you would think it wasn't a matter of if, but rather when the Dogs would score that game-leveling try. They'll have to wait a bit longer, though, because Lockie Galvin has made the error. Ruan Sims down to you on the touchline.
Well, the energy is really lifted here in the stadium, and you just heard the air go out of all of that pressure that had been applied by the Bulldogs with that error. But now they can actually try to recreate that through their defensive efforts. Just watching on this left edge here, it was the right edge in the first half that looked like they were quite willing. The left edge in this second half for the Bulldogs looks absolutely devastating.
20 gone, 20 left, second half here at Stadium Australia, where it's still Newcastle in front, 16-12. It was 16-0 at half time. But it's been cut back thanks to 2 second-half tries to Matt Burton. Newcastle play at 10 out to their own line. Sandon Smith and Dominic Young spins out the tackle there of Tupanua, and now he'll be playing. Dom Young still down here, just clutching up part of his face. By the way, I mentioned the ABC Listen app, which you all know about, because we mention it incessantly, and rightly so. But you can find ABC Sport Rapid. The button there allows you to listen to our rugby league broadcasts with no or much less delay than you're used to at the games. So you can also watch, of course, if you're watching on TV. And just by the way, Dom Young is still down. There's a report made here.
It's on Max King for a crusher.
King, who came in for the crusher. So, that was sort of after he was already held, and King came in late. And Max King on report for a crusher tackle. The ABC Sport Rapid is the button there on the app, and it syncs up with play for about a second behind maybe, and the same thing with TV, which you can sync up either on ABC Sport Rapid or just the ABC Sport button. Anyway, 19:50 left here off the back of the Newcastle penalty, so penalty count 2-all, scoreline 16-12 the Knights' way, 19:50 left before we hand you back to Western Sydney Stadium for the Panthers and the Eels. Set restart Newcastle as the break is made by Sandon Smith. On to McEwen. Up the right edge he goes. Has support on the outside. Dominic Young, who's too quick for Tracy. And just as the game began with a Newcastle try. Dominic Young scores again against the Tide, and Newcastle pull one back. 20 points to 12, kick to come Knights with 19:20 left.
Yeah, definitely against the run of play, like you say, Spriggy, but really nice work down the short side this time from the Newcastle Knights, and out of dummy half for Sandham Smith. He jumps to the left. They get the six again. He immediately pops down the short side after beating the first defender. Finds McEwen, who did a great job to sum things up in the backfield. He kept going into Connor Tracy. Connor Tracy was buying time for the support defenders to come, but McEwen, he keeps eating up that space. He positions Dom Young really well, gives him enough room to put the foot down and knock over the sideline, and yeah, really well done from the back row, the young back rower, and the Knights put a bit of a dagger there into the Bulldogs.
And did you feel the wind down there from Dominic Young, Ruan Sims?
Well, both he and McEwen, both big bodies, absolutely flying past me. It was really good play by Sandham Smith because he identified there were two Bulldogs players on the ground and there was only one marker. So that short side was always on. But I have to give a tip of the hat to McEwen for a second rower to be able to do that at pace, and a young second rower. That is really good stuff.
So the kick will come from not far away from Ruan Sims here. Sandham Smith places the ball on the tee, 23 metres out, barely a metre in from the western sideline. Stewart from Kalinga says Burton's absolutely carving them up. Well, he was. He scored 2 tries in 6 minutes, Matt Burton, but the Knights have pulled one back here through Dom Young. 20 points to 12. Might be 22 points to 12 here. Sandham Smith, 2 from 3 so far this afternoon. Tough assignment here for the right-footed goal kicker. And it goes right across the face. Doesn't get close. Wouldn't have gone through a second set of posts. 20 points to 12, and Sandham Smith has 2 from 4 so far this afternoon. Around the grounds, I mentioned the Queensland Cup, North Devils 4, Brisbane Tigers 0. Still 0 all between the Panthers and the Eels in the Jersey Fleet. That's the New South Wales under, what are those, 21s now? It was moved, didn't it? Change during COVID, under 20s, under 21s. And it's just gone full-time Super Rugby. The Hurricanes 52 are beating the Queensland Reds 14. So all of that available, of course. I will keep you across all of those scores. I mentioned the AFL, the Sheffield Shield final, all available via ABC Listen. Margie brings it back from the kickoff here for the Newcastle Knights. 20 points to 12, their lead here at Stadium Australia, where the sun is setting on the western side behind us. So most of the playing arena is in the shadows now, which I'm sure would make for a much cooler situation for Ruan Sims and her sideline colleagues. 12 out, 12 short of the halfway here is where Croker is tackled. Newcastle on the second last on this run from Thomas Cant. He'll play it metre short of halfway. Comes to the right-hand side as Sandham Smith punts it downfield. Tracy was forced back by Dane Gagai. As soon as he legally could, Gagai grabbed him and just threw him back to the ground. As Carraz receives the ball here, and he's tackled 25 out from his own line. So Newcastle 20, Canterbury 12 here, 16:50 left. The game is far from done here at Stadium Australia. Bulldogs with their first home game of the year. By the way, looking to avoid 3 straight defeats at this venue, of course. They lost their last 2, which includes that semi against the Panthers last year, and now it will be penalty kick on the Bulldogs' way. And there's McEwen, who's penalised down there for a wait. So 16 and a half left. They're going to challenge this stuff. Listen.
So Captain Chance from Newcastle challenging the on-field decision of a strip.
Sandham Smith was quite animated afterwards, but now he doesn't look so certain, has he?
Looking at the actions here of Sandham Smith, his hand's cupped under the ball, and then he pulls the ball out of the ball carrier's hands. The challenge by Newcastle Knights is unsuccessful.
There we go. Look, you want to keep it up your sleeve probably a bit later in the game, particularly when it's close. But it does buy them some time to get their breath back, the Newcastle Knights. Once again, the Bulldogs looking to get some momentum going through that set.
Burton finds touch on the western side. Touchline we go, Ruan Sims.
Yeah, that was touch and go, that one. That was no pun intended. But he did have his hand wrapped around the ball, but as he moved his hand away, he did release it. But I think that was just some really good gamesmanship by Burton.
Penalty count 3-2 the Bulldogs as Tilly Tupanua gains a quick 10 metres. 25 out, 20 in from the eastern side. 15:50 left here. At the biggest venue in Sydney. Biggest venue in Australia for Rugby League. Centre field 20 out. And Sean O'Sullivan's out there as well, so he's the fourth bench player used for the Bulldogs. He's at dummy half here, and he waits on the second last play in behind Connor Tracy. Come back to Kurt Mann. Galvin on to kick out. They swarm on him. 6 metres shy, left-hand side of the post. Last play, Bulldogs. O'Sullivan's kick was well-timed, but then it was just picked up down there by Fletcher, by Fritz Crossland, in fact. And he's slow getting up. Sort of suggesting there was contact at the back of his head. Plays it now as Marju brings it away, and is heaped back by 3 Bulldogs defenders. Only 5 out from his own line at northern end. And Newcastle 20, Canterbury 12. The scoreline here with 14:50 left in the game. And it's great to have your company. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruan Sims, as Greg Marju stands in the tackle of O'Sullivan and Tawala, and now he's put down. 20 out, 20 in, eastern side. Back across here again to Croker. Only gains about 4 or 5, so it's last play Newcastle, 28 out from their own line. Does come to Fletcher Sharp. First game back from a knee injury, which he sustained in Las Vegas. High kick down through centre field. Connor Tracy, 20 out. Has open paddock there, gains 20 more before they'll start their set. 40 out from their own line here, the Bulldogs trailing 20 points to 12 on Toya. Tackled by Matt Croker. And he's still down there, so sure enough, penalty for a crusher. And yeah, so there might be a report made like the previous one with Max King, but a penalty again going the Bulldogs' way, so penalty count will be 4-2 Canterbury's way. In fact, there is the report. So Matt Croker on report there.
There's a bit of a pattern going here for the Newcastle Knights. They're really giving the Bulldogs a leg out from their own end with penalties and in the second half, and they can ill afford to do that when the Dogs have done so well to claw their way back into this game, so they should not try and turn them away through this defensive set.
8-point margin, 13.5 left. This will be a massive win for Newcastle if they can hang on. 30 out centre field. O'Sullivan dummy half across to Burton, and now Max King set upon by 3 Newcastle Knights. Play at 28 out now. Burton back to Galvin. Options on the outside there. Tracy. Bradman Best got him straight from the side. And it's been lost. So Bradman Best forces the error on the fullback, Connor Tracy. That's the stuff that defines games, Dean Hallertau. In this situation, the Knights still lead by 8 points.
Yeah, and they've had a few issues in the second half on the left edge defensively, but Bradman Best, who we know is extremely strong, he gets himself in a good position. He reads the play really well, and he just swallows up Connor Tracy, and in that contact on the ground, just forces the ball free.
Crowd, by the way, 20,572. So they've all come for the $5 pies and sausage rolls. Charlie in Far North Queensland says, loving the call. Can I get a shout out to my mother, Elise, who is watching the Lions on TV while listening to the Rugby League on ABC Sport? Thank you, Charlie. Says, go the Broncos. Lots of multi-sport fans out there in ABC listener land. Newcastle on the attack here. Thomas Kent collared there by Lachlan Galvin. 12.5 left in the game of footy. Someone asked, as Cliff from Newcastle, does ABC Rapid make the game finish more quickly? No, it doesn't. But mind you, why would you want this game to finish? It's been an absolute cracker as far as the scoreboard's concerned. Crossland dummy half. Oh, Fletcher Sharp fires the pass. Just missed his teammate's head. It's come off to Greg Marju on the halfway line. Meter in from the eastern side. Second last as Bradman Best fires the pass to Croker. And he's run down from behind by Lachlan Galvin. Oh, it's going to be a penalty for, yeah. So he did sort of put his weight into the tackle there behind on Croker. So Galvin penalised here.
Yeah, they'll obviously have another look at that, but I'm assuming it was for a hip drop type action, which is
he falls on the legs of Croker as well, which is the absolute sort of mechanism for what they're trying to prevent. So penalty Newcastle. Can they put the game to bed here? 11:40 left. They lead by 8 points. 25 out from Canterbury's line. It's come to Thomas Cairns. That makes penalties, 4-3 Bulldogs way. Knights on the attack. Shannon Smith back on the inside for Matt Croker. And Croker is 20 out dead centre. Tackle 3 here for Newcastle. Crossland off to Smith. Inside ball. Gagai lost it in the kick-out tackle. Loose ball dived on here by the Bulldogs. And Kiko gets it back here. So Dogs back on the attack. 25 out from their own line. They still trail by an 8-point margin. 20 points to 12. But the Ruan Sims shortly. Up the right edge they go through Preston. Preston still standing here, and he'll play it 5 short of the halfway for Galvin, dummy half. Off to Max King, and King bounced off 1-2 tacklers, makes ground 5 inside Newcastle territory. 10:40 left in the game. As Haywood off to the left-hand side to O'Sullivan, put on his back, 40 out, in fact 35 out from that northern line. Haywood on the second last to Crichton. Feeds it back to Tracy. Oh, Dominic intercepts. 30 out. He's off to the races. Haywood won't catch him. No one will catch him. Dominic Young can go 60 or so more metres and plant the ball down to complete his hat-trick. And it might just complete the game for the Newcastle Knights. Dom Young with a 70-metre intercept makes it 24-12. Kick to come Knights with 10 minutes on the clock.
Well, Spriggy, how often have we seen it today against the run of play from the Newcastle Knights? And Dom Young positions himself. He can see, or at least feel, that the Dogs are looking to get on the outside because they get a quick play the ball down a short side. He entices the long ball to the winger because he leaves him open, and he just gets the big long right hand out, pops it up in the air, and really smart play from Dom Young because he pops it up knowing that he has time to regather that ball. And the closest man to chasing him was Bailey Haywood. He backs himself, gets the foot down, and away he goes into the backfield. Great work to cap off his hat-trick.
Touchline to go, Ruan Sims.
Well, there's a few players in the NRL where I don't think you need to try and go over the top of. One being Dom Young, the other Jason Saab and Daniel Tupu. They are so tall. They have go-go gadget arms. They just pop straight up and they'll always pluck that ball out of the air. But I tell you what else he showed. He showed that beautiful running style he's got. He is so silky and smooth when he moves like that. Nobody got close to him and he absolutely ran away with it. A hat-trick for Dom Young today in the Knights colours.
As I mentioned, 3 tries in the first 2 games. He didn't score last week, and of course he scores 3 here this afternoon at Stadium Australia. So here's Sandon Smith, who's 2 from 4 so far this afternoon. He'll kick 21 metres out, 10 in from the western side to make it 26-12. It's now 8:49 left on the clock here, so what a win this will be for Newcastle. These wounded Knights. No Trey Mooney out suspended, of course, no Ponga, no Brown. Far from their best version of themselves. They look to upset Canterbury here in their first home game of the season. Sandon Smith, in he comes. Starts it right this time to compensate for his last miss, and he misses the side. So he's 2 from 5, and it's still, for what it's worth, 2 converted tries the difference. 24 plays 12 here with 8:46 left in the game. 0467 920 222. Surprisingly, they penalised Galvin 2 last week against Hudson Young. We'll even mention that player safety is paramount. Question mark, says Marty in Canberra. Thank you, Marty. Forgive me, the young man on the wing there for Canterbury Bankstown looks like he could use with an eucalyptus leaf. That's a koala joke. It's not a very good one, but thank you. I'll read all the texts out. 0467 920 222. But all the action here. Can the Bulldogs get their way back in the game? Short kick-off comes back here for Lockie Galvin. So they get possession back from their own kick-off here, the Bulldogs. 35 out from Newcastle's line. They need points, they need them quickly. Max King tackled 30 out centre field. Haywood Across here for O'Sullivan. Right to left, they shift it now to Viliami Kickow. Quick doesn't here. Good gain here as he was surrounded by 3 Newcastle defenders. Kickow will play at 15 now. Haywood across to O'Sullivan. And now Crichton, catch release, tipped on Tracy. There is Tuala, takes on Best and Lucas. He'll play it. 8 out, right-hand side of the post. Second last play, Canterbury. They must score this set, you would think. Galvin to Crichton. And now Kickow. And Kickow back to Crichton. Centre field, Galvin to O'Sullivan. Tracy, can they spread the defence again? Tracy darts back on the inside. Makes light work of one tap by Thomas Cam. Tracy will play it now. 6 out, left-hand side of the sticks. Haywood, left-hand side. Crichton, oh, it's tipped on from somewhere. Crichton, Carraz tries to plant it. It's come off someone's head. There's a lot of heading off saying try. So because it came off the head, well, not whose head it was. It came off someone's head, but it was legal on its way to Carraz. So Carraz scores the try. The Bulldogs do hit back. And it's 24-16, kick to come doggies. The Newcastle players are pleading with Peter Goff in the in-goal area. They can't believe it. Nor can I. Let us see it again.
It's hard to tell if it comes off a Newcastle head or...
Well, I guess...
Oh, no, it
comes off Burton's head.
Burton's head.
And bounces forward for Carraz. Even the grounding isn't convincing, though, as he gets some contact from, I think it was Fletcher Hunt, right in the corner. So I didn't know that Carraz even got the ball down there properly, but I'm sure look at all aspects of this in the bunker with Grant Atkins. A very important moment in this game. Carraz, here we go. Ooh. Oh, it's not the most convincing grounding. What say you, Ruan Sims, on the touchline?
Give it to him. Try.
Well, the game needs it. You know, I'm all for the yarn.
I'm a little worried for Fletcher Hunt's contact on Carraz with the head. I mean, if the try is given, it could be a potential 8-point try. There we go, try confirmed.
Yeah, there it is.
I'm just wondering now whether it's under review, but it looks like Steve Crichton's getting ready. Let's go.
He'll take his kick 22 out on the western sideline. Stephen Crichton, every point counts here, but he misses left-hand side. So 5:58 left. A somewhat dubious Jacob Carraz try, but at least, as I say, it brings them within 8 points. Would have loved to have been 6 points with that conversion, but alas, Crichton does miss for the first time today, so he's 2 from 3. The scoreline is Newcastle 24, Canterbury 16.
Yeah, really important, as you say. They're just showing the replay again on the big screen, and obviously in the bunker they've got a far better view than you and I have right now. Spriggy from the side on. Looks like he gets that right hand just enough down on the ball, and it brings the Dogs obviously closer again, but 8 points in 5 minutes might be tough, or 6.
5:50 left as the kickoff goes down to Galvin, off to Tupanua. Hits it up here off the Newcastle defensive line, 15 out from his own line, 20 in from that far side. So, here is Jacob Preston. He gains half a dozen here, 25 out, 10 in from the eastern side of the ground. It's still got some sunshine hitting it. Montoya play at 35 out. Haywood across to O'Sullivan, and now Max King is bouncing off the tackle there of Jermaine McEwen. Played 8 short of halfway. Haywood on the second last. Can they find the break? Give themselves some chance. Galvin runs headlong into Dylan Lucas. Last play, 40 out Canterbury. High kick from Sean O'Sullivan goes down to the wing of Marzu. He takes some of the pace out of the game here, Marzu. With 5 minutes left, Newcastle leads 24 points to 16.
Yeah, but what Newcastle can't afford to do is just to shut up shop here and try and defend that lead, because there's a number of players standing back near the 30-metre line, not making their way behind the ball. They still need to make ground down the field, or else the Dogs can score points quick.
There we go. Dominic Young scored 3 tries today. Has the arm pinned there by Viliami Kickow. 15 out from his own line at the Newcastle end of Stadium Australia. That's northern end. 4.5 left. 24-16 the Knights' way. Tackled and playing it now, Friselle. Cross and will shoot across now here again to Fletcher Sharp. Run aground there in the tackle of Viliami Kickow. Last play Newcastle 30 out, so Tennant Smith just kicks them out of there. Tracy fields the ball and he's bright. fluoro yellow boots. Put down there by McEwen, 40 out centre field. So 4 minutes left in the game. Bulldogs need 2 tries to regain the lead and the result. Otherwise, it's their first loss of the new campaign, and indeed their first loss in their first home game. Offload comes here from Montoya to Hayward. Releases O'Sullivan, and he's taken there by Safidi and also Crossland. 25 out centre field. 3:40 left in this game of footy. Hayward to Galvin. Needs options inside or outside, but he takes on the tackle there of Safidi and Croker. Last play, in fact, second last Canterbury. 15 out they go. O'Sullivan off to Max King. He's still in 5 metres. Now it's the last for the Bulldogs. Can they find some points here? Hayward to O'Sullivan. Little kick was too little and pounced on there by the Newcastle Knights and Phoenix Crossland. Deep in that northwestern corner. So Newcastle back on the attack. 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. The Knights lead 24 points to 16.
Yeah, not a hugely challenging kick there from O'Sullivan. And Phoenix Crossland does a great job to trap it with his feet. He doesn't leave it a chance. He dives straight on the ball, gains possession for his team as they try and slow things down as much as possible.
2:50 left in our first of 3 games today. Friselle comes up centre field here. The 3-man tackle eventually is claimed by Hayward and Max King. 40 out centre field. 2.5 minutes left here. Newcastle can taste the victory. What a road win this is. 2 wins in the first 2 games. Had their colours lowered in New Zealand last week. Of course, missing a lot of their best players. No Brown, no Ponga, no Mooney.
That was 10 metres.
And that'll be a...
You're inside, offside of the kick change.
Yeah.
That's back here.
So you hear the referee Peter Goff there penalising Newcastle offside. So Lachlan Galvin will find touch on the eastern side. It'll be too little too late here for the Bulldogs. 20,000 here in the building. Cheap pies or not, this will be a very valuable win for the Newcastle Knights. Max King taken down, 5 inside Knights territory. 2 minutes left. Hayward dummy half. Comes to Tupanua. He angles his run here towards that 30 metre line now as Hayward picks up at dummy half. Shares with O'Sullivan. On to Max King. And he's standing there in the tackle of Matt Croker and also Tyson Friselle. Friselle scored a try in the first half as well. Galvin runs the footy. With 1:40 on the clock here for the Bulldogs. 24-16 the scoreline remains here in Newcastle's favour. Across to O'Sullivan, first receiver, and now Crichton, the kick out. And he slips over under no real pressure. 10 out from Newcastle's line. 80 seconds left in the game. This is last play Bulldogs. Hayward open side right. Back to O'Sullivan. Hooks it right again for Galvin. He was chasing. He was obstructed, I reckon. In the end, the ball goes over the dead ball line. And it will matter not as minute left on the clock. Oh, now this is concerning. Fletcher Sharp is clutching his left knee. The one he had issues with is heavily strapped. As he was chasing that ball in the in-goal area, he's fallen awkwardly. And I think he's up now, Fletcher Sharp, but looking like a dejected figure as he's got one of the trainers alongside him. Line drop out Newcastle, 45 seconds left. 8 points to buffer the Knights' favour, 24 points to 16. Line drop out travels down to that 40-metre line now as Galvin back to Satuli Tupanua. 30 seconds left here at Stadium Australia. The entire ground in afternoon shade now. Galvin to the right-hand side. Preston, who's met there by Bradman Best. Preston offloads back to Hayward. 20 seconds left here. They'll swing it back right to left, the Bulldogs, and Tupanua is claimed 25 out with 13 seconds on the clock. Hayward goes off the deck here to O'Sullivan. And now King off to Galvin. He kicks wide for the corner. Marju gets back with a flight in the dying seconds, and that will complete a spirited Newcastle performance. These brave Knights from the north with an all-time road win, their 3rd victory of the year, and they inflict on Canterbury Bankstown their first loss of the 26 campaign. 24-16, the Newcastle Knights, through 3 very well-timed tries from Dominic Young, get the win here. It is, as I say, Dan Hallertau, a spirited performance.
Yeah, certainly spirited, and you know, they came with plenty of intent in the way they played. We mentioned in the first half that they had some purpose, or they had a plan to go to the edge in particular left edge of the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, and they're able to exploit some vulnerability there, come up with points, and they really stuck to that throughout the game. They were dominant for most of the game. When the Bulldogs started pegging them back, they were able to score against the run of play, and it just took the energy out of the Bulldogs. I thought when they brought on Sean O'Sullivan at the back end to the Bulldogs, they looked a bit lost, like there's too many ball players out there trying to do the same thing. Well, not quite sure on what they wanted to achieve. So a little bit of work to do in terms of their structure and their point scoring, but very spirited, as you said there, Spriggy, from the Newcastle Knights.
Ruan Sims, down to you.
Thank you very much. I've got one of the try scorers here. I even bribed him with a flavoured drink to make sure he spoke to us here on ABC Sport. Tyson Friselle. I know coming down here there was all the talk about no Ponga, no Dylan Brown, but I tell you what, everybody stepped up today and that was some kind of performance.
Yeah, it was. We knew it was the footy that we could play, and really disappointed last week. I know we had a few out, but the way we turned over possession, the style of footy that we played wasn't us. It's something that we, been working a lot on during the off season, and we didn't show any of it last week. So we knew if we all played well and we all did our job, we'd get the result that we wanted.
What about your flying winger? 3 tries for Dom Young. He is so fast when he gets in space. It must be nice when you know you've got a finisher. If you can get it out there, he'll finish it off well for you.
Yeah, it's nice to be blessed with speed, isn't it? So not many of us are blessed with that. But yeah, he was great today. Coming the ball out of trouble there and being able to ice those opportunities. With the way the momentum swings, sometimes you just need someone to come up with a big play, and he did that on a couple of occasions too. So yeah, really proud of his efforts today.
A little bit of a different role for you this year. We're used to seeing you play on an edge and sometimes in the middle, but coming off the bench, providing lots of leadership and lots of stability. And I know that today at halftime, Justin Holbrook challenged you guys to come out and set another platform the way the starters did in the first half.
Yeah, different role. We're all doing our job. I'm enjoying my role coming off the bench every now and then when they need me to. I know we've got a lot of young middles and young boys coming through, so it's nice to sit alongside them and have a few of the guys start off and kick off the games. They've been starting well past 3 games, and I've just been doing my best to come on and help out where I can. So yeah, it's been good.
Well, thanks for chatting to us on ABC. It's going to be a tough road trip down to Canberra next week, but get plenty of recovery in with those electrolytes. Speak to you next time.
Thanks, Cheers.
Great stuff. Ruan Sims with Tyson Friselle, of course, was one of their try scorers in the first half. So Dom Young scored 3 tries in the 6th, the 60th and 69th minute. That was a great intercept there at the end to just about see the game off. And Dylan Lucas scored their other try just before half-time for the Bulldogs. Matt Burton scored 2 tries in 6 minutes after half-time, and Jacob Carraz scored as well. As we get back down to you, Ruan Sims.
Thanks very much. I've got the Bulldogs' Jacob Preston down here with me. That was always going to be a tough game coming into today, and they started really, really fast out of the blocks.
Yeah, I haven't got too many words to be honest. It's very disappointing today, but look, we'll get back to the drawing board, get into training, and short turnaround on Friday, so can't wait to get out there.
I know Cam challenged you guys at halftime to play more direct, and when you did that, you really found some joy.
Yeah, we kind of stuck to what we'd worked on throughout the week. We did find a bit of joy, but we didn't do it enough today.
Aerial assault, I have to ask you, because I've noticed today in particular, you're always good, but getting up in the air, it's not something you normally see a second row doing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I've just been doing some work on it at training, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully see a bit more of it.
How do you think the week will go in training leading up to next week?
Yeah, obviously we've got a lot to improve on, so like I said before, we'll get back to the drawing board, learn lessons from today, and we're going to have to be held a lot better next week.
Thanks for your time on ABC Sport. I know it's always tough after a loss.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. Cheers.
Jacob Preston there. And Roo, just a final thought from you from down on the ground level?
Well, look, honestly, I really did think the Bulldogs were going to get away with this one, but just the way that the Knights started, they've played as a real unit, which I think is really impressive, and it's a testament to the coaching of Justin Holbrook and his team. Losing $2.7 million worth of your salary cap to still come out and be able to produce like that takes a team effort. That doesn't just rely on 1 or 2 players. So well done to him. They've got a tough road trip. They're down in Canberra next week against the Raiders. So we'll see how they turn up after that.
Great stuff. Thank you, Roo. We'll hear from you again very soon.
Thanks, guys.
Ruan Sims with us here on ABC Sport. We're off to join Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis, Michael Carianis at Western Sydney Stadium for for the Panthers and the Eels very shortly. Dean Hallertau, who are your three best players today?
Yeah, I'm going to go 1 point to Matt Burton. I thought he was instrumental in the Bulldogs trying to get back into the game. Obviously, the tries certainly helped there, and he was looking to get as involved as possible. For 2 points, I'm going Jacob Saifiti, the stand-in skipper for the Newcastle Knights. Pretty good captain stock, 130-odd running metres, 35 tackles, and was really strong to lay the platform through the middle. And then 3 points, I'm going to go 3 for each try, Dominic Young.
Yeah.
I know wingers don't often feature at that end, but I thought the effort that he did, particularly to get that intercept at the end, was huge. And out of trouble, he was really strong as well.
So 3 for Dom Young, 2 for Jacob Saifiti, and 1 to Matt Burton, the ABC Player of the Year. As we mentioned there, the Knights host the Raiders on Sunday at it's 4:05. So that's what's to come next for them. Are they hosting them? Yeah, they're at home. And of course, the Bulldogs have South here on Good Friday at this same venue. So 6-day break into Good Friday and the 4:05 kickoff, one of the marquee events of the season. So they want to turn around their record. Now they've lost their last 3 games at Stadium Australia.
Yeah, we talked about the stadium being a fortress for them throughout last year, but a run of 3 is not great.
Thank you, Shop.
Thanks, mate.
By the way, I should mention as well, there were reports made Max King and Matt Croker for their respective crusher tackles in the second half, and Dylan Lucas was sin-binned under bizarre circumstances in the first half as well. Thanks to Dean Hallertau, thanks to Ruan Sims, thank you to Peter Roger Clemson, our tech here, and to the cult figure Adam Jones back in the studio. It was a great win for the Newcastle Knights, 24 over the Bulldogs 16. Let's head back to Western Sydney Stadium and say a very good afternoon once again to Andrew Moore.
Thank you, Spriggy, Dino and Roo. What an upset to get us started today. Knights beating Canterbury Bankstown at Stadium Australia. And, will the upsets continue? We've got Parramatta warming up before us here at Western Sydney Stadium at the northern end of the ground. And Penrith, the actual home team for this game, down at the southern end. The crowd building, kick-off just under half an hour away. There are already people sitting in the very back rows at the northern end to our left, across at the eastern side of the field and down to our right at the southern end of the ground. So that is a good sign of having a good crowd here today, and they weren't always spectacularly followed this makeshift home ground for the Penrith Panthers a year ago with the new Panther Stadium, much to the delight of Michael Carianis, being built as we speak. The team news, there's only one change for the Panthers. Jack Cogger is off the bench, replaced by Jack Cole. One Jack replaces the other. In jersey 21 is Jack Cole. No changes to Parramatta. They are 1-17. The referee, Todd Smith. Liam Kennedy in the bunker. No New South Wales Cup here yet. That's being played tonight at 8 o'clock at this ground. And I think MC's offered to stick around and update scores for Q a little bit later on. Luke Lewis is here. He won a premiership with Penrith in 2003 and with Cronulla in 2016. Good afternoon to you again, Louis.
Yeah, good afternoon, boys. How good is it? Saturday afternoon. It's been a great game and a little bit of an upset just up the road there. And I'm not expecting an upset here today. I'm expecting Penrith to
that's why
continue their beautiful form. They've been amazing to watch. I've loved watching them play. I think they're in a different league of their own at the moment, but it is the local derby, the Battle of the West. It's a little bit different, Andrew. So it'll be interesting to see how this one unfolds.
Yeah, it will be, most definitely, because Parramatta will no doubt be up for it. We called them last Sunday, where they were good, not great, against St George Illawarra, but they won after that come-from-behind win over the Brisbane Broncos. And it's all about building confidence after a terrible start to the season. So, again, we've made this point a bit over the last 24 hours. We all think and say Parramatta does well against Penrith, but Penrith has beaten them 4 times in a row.
Yeah, Penrith they've beaten most people 4 times in a row. They're a very good side. Parramatta do worry them a little bit with the way that they did play, but they are a little bit of a different team now. I feel like Penrith have got that that belief and their understanding on how their game's played. And for Parramatta to win this game, I feel like they've got to have an 80-minute performance. It can't be one of those 10-minute here, 15 minutes there, have a couple of little lapses, give away their set restarts. The only team who can give away a set restart and defend it is the Penrith side. So there's a lot that's got to go in Parramatta's favour, but that's what I love about our game, is that today you can be the best side and you can be the worst side and you can still win, but you've got to make it happen. And I don't feel like Penrith for the team to sit there and go, it will just happen. We're going to go out and make it happen. But just by the way, what about how good their jerseys look? The old school jerseys.
They look good. You played in those.
Yes, we did. The nice collar. Looks like the old 2004, I think we played in that.
Yeah, it looks very, very sharp. Predominantly, it's a very dark black, that's for sure. Now, the Daily and Sunday Telegraph's Michael Carianis is here celebrating Kiss Cam, going on the scoreboard. MC, welcome back to you. It feels like footy weather today, doesn't it? A bit cooler. Beautiful sunny skies at the moment. Good crowd building. It feels like footy.
Spot on, Andrew. It is. It's a great day for footy, and the weather's cooled down a little bit, but I think it was definitely a dry surface. The ground looks a little bit better than last week for you.
Not much, though.
A little bit.
No, it doesn't.
It still looks pretty
Well,
good.
actually, no, you got
It
a
does
point.
better. It looks better.
The 10-metre zone down on the southern side of the ground is a little bit better than what it was last week. That's probably the only zone that's a bit better.
Yeah, it's a tenuous link, really, because it's still messy in the middle of the field. There's still soccer markings on the field as well. It's a bit weird because the playing surface here, as we've experienced ever since the place opened, is magnificent. Coming up, though, between now and kick-off, we're going to speak with Brisbane front rower Corey Jensen after the Broncos win last night. Corey Jensen has played 150 NRL games now. And he actually had a shot at goal, didn't he, from the touchline? Missed it, but he had a go. Around the grounds, Jersey Fleet. Parramatta 4 leading Penrith 0. Queensland Cup second half. It is 8-all between the Brisbane Tigers and the North Devils. Full time in the rugby earlier. Wellington Hurricanes thrashed Queensland 52-14. AFL second quarter, Fremantle 19, leading Richmond 15. A-League Women, Newcastle 3, leading Adelaide United 1. And we've got first half Sydney FC Melbourne victory, no score. Our next guest has just walked in the box. I'm only no, leave him alone. I won't mention that Michael Ennis has just walked in. He's been touted as a future Manly Ringer. Gee, he's left the box. That's the fastest he's ever got out of Dodge. Your text remain welcome, 0467 920 222. Boys, are you as stunned as I am at Newcastle without Dylan Brown and Callum Ponga have toppled Canterbury in Sydney?
Amazing. It's amazing. And
what a great effort.
Big win. The shifting of the halves as well is interesting, with Matt Burton not playing the full game out in the halves, with Stephen Crichton attacking in that sixth row. And I'm of the belief that they can't win the comp with the Galvin and Burton halves combination.
Yeah, interesting. But Louis, on the Newcastle side, that's an enormous win away from home. $2.7 million of your salary cap sitting on the sidelines injured, and you still come and beat a team that had been unbeaten.
Well, it just goes to show that their belief with Justin Holbrook is definitely changed. They've turned up. They want to play for each other. They want to play for the jersey, and it's good to see Newcastle, doing well. I know last week was always going to be hard. They didn't have enough time to turn it around with their big guys out, but just think about now Dylan Brown and Callum Ponga, when they come back into this side and the confidence that they've already got. Well, they're just going to go up another notch. So it's a big tick for the Newcastle Knights. I'm pretty happy for them.
On the text line, 0467 920 222. Maury MC, Luke Lewis, am I the only one who sometimes dances like MC Hammer when it's MC's Hammer time? I think you might be.
I don't.
You definitely don't. You're just giving me fingers about how many things you have to talk about.
Yeah, well, I'm very polite towards you, Andrew.
Andrew, are you sure it's a dark black? What's a light black? Asked Marty in Canberra with some smiley faces.
Got a good point.
It's a very fair question.
It is a very dark black.
It is, though, isn't it?
I'm with you on this.
Because normally it's like a brownie.
Or yeah.
No, it's not.
This is
always
dark
black. But I think the short, it's just their full outfit is real dark. That's why.
So
and then you know what it is?
Black.
Yeah, but it's because the collar's white. It's making it look darker. It's got a different contrast.
Yeah, that's different contrast.
Have you ever used
contrast?
Oh, Neil. Rowdy Andy says, so when does Serraldo get sacked? South v Dogs, Good Friday. Yeah, that's going to be great, isn't it? Because the Bulldogs, as we just heard from Spriggy and Dean Hallertown, they've lost 3 games in a row now at Stadium Australia, which is quite something. So can they bounce back? That's going to be fantastic. We'll be calling that next Friday afternoon with Louis and Jonty at Stadium Australia. Hi, Andrew. Tigers over the Warriors, Knights over the Dogs. Could this be the weekend of the underdog? Us as desperate Cowboys tragic, I hope so. Come on, Cowboys, from the Sheriff in Melbourne. Yeah, they come up later tonight when the Cowboys host the Melbourne Storm at Townsville Stadium, and you'll hear that with Quentin Hull at the ground and Lachlan Coote and also Laurie Spooner. What a great interview with Tyson Friselle. Great work, ABC. That's Phil. Thank you, Phil. We'll pass that on to Ruan Sims for sure and certain. Guys, New South Wales final country championships. Newcastle Rebels 36 beat Central Coast 4 in Port Macquarie. We'll appreciate that update. Well done to the Newcastle Rebels beating the Central Coast side there by 36 points to 4 in the final. 0467 920 222 to send a text message on this Saturday afternoon. It is NRL Saturday on ABC Sport with Luke Lewis, Michael Carianis, and I'm Andrew Moore. Last night, we touched on this earlier today, the Brisbane Broncos, a very, very impressive win over the Dolphins. As you'd expect, it was a good game to watch and to listen to, and it was a very good atmosphere coming there in Brisbane with a big crowd on hand. And Corey Jensen, the front rower from the Brisbane Broncos, has been terrific for them. It was his 150th NRL game last night. I think 92 of them now with the Broncos, having started his NRL career with North Queensland. And Corey's on the line. How are you, Corey?
Hi, good, thanks. How are you?
Really well, mate. Appreciate your time. Well done, firstly, on game number 150. That's quite an achievement. You must be proud of that.
Yeah, for sure. I said probably it's sort of a long time coming, a bit of a late bloomer, so to make that milestone is something, pretty proud of. And to be able to cop it off with a good win last night was, pretty special.
And as a late bloomer, as you put it, the rewards have been there, haven't they? Both for you personally and with the team you're with now the past few years.
Yeah, for sure. I've said a few times, I think, at the end of my sort of Cowboys career, I didn't really know where rugby league was going to go for me, and sort of took a punt and come down to Brizzy, and the last 5 years have been something pretty special, and that's some very good memories down here, so it's been good.
What did it mean to you to win the comp last year?
I think it's like every other NRL player's your dream come true. You play the game to aim to pinnacle, and I feel winning the grand final is sort of the pinnacle in the game, so to be able to do it with such a great group of guys too. We've been around for a while now, and most of the boys have been together for a large chunk of their playing career, so it's been pretty special.
Corey, mate, coming off the back of the grand final, how do you find it now going into each game week in, week out, knowing that you guys are the hunted?
Well, I think we sort of just try and take it as it comes. I think most of the guys, most of the teams that come up to Brisbane now, they really get around playing at Suncorp regardless. It's a pretty high spectacle there at Suncorp Stadium, and they all race for those kind of games. So it's really nothing new to us. We probably didn't start the season the way we wanted to off the back of England in the first 2 rounds, but I feel like the last couple of weeks we've really found the way we all our identity of how we want to play, and we just got to try and build off that.
Yeah, definitely looking really good over the last couple of weeks. Mate, how is it as a player when you're sitting there and you're hearing all the talk on the outside about the pressure on your coach? How does that feel as a player?
We try and we have a really strong group internally that we try and just stick to that. And we know obviously in Brisbane it's a rugby league city, and there's a lot of noise in and around the club, and Brisbane as a whole. So we just try and worry about what we have to worry about. We know there's obviously going to be talk on the outside, and we don't really read into too much of that. We got to plan what we want to do, and we want to get better, and obviously build off what we did last year. And that's all our focus has been. And like I said before, the first couple of weeks weren't great, but I think we're finding that consistent at the moment.
And mate, what's the key to your number one? He was phenomenal, back to his best last night. He had a blinder in that grand final. And what's the key to Reece playing his best footy week in, week out?
I think for him it's just getting the little things right. You obviously see how talented he is with the ball, and he works really hard with his defence too, and be able to put us forwards in the right positions at the right times, and also his communication at the back there. And I've said it before, but what I love about Reece is always trying to get better as a football player, and I think he's really learning now when to not so much be conservative, but when to run rather than pass, and doesn't have to always come up with the big plays all the time. And he's picking and choosing the right times now. And like you said, when he's on, he's one of the hardest players to stop. So he's really learning a lot, and he's going to continue to get better.
Corey, I'm not sure if we've seen this before, but your 3 games in the next, you've got 2 more games, but obviously you played the Dolphins last week, then you had Titans, Cowboys, so all Queensland derbies. How does playing each of those sides differ?
I think they're all, like you said, they're all Queensland derbies. Obviously had the one with the Dolphins there last night, and that's sort of a Brisbane spectacle, and then go up to the road, and the Titans tend to play one of their best games against us because it's like a bit of a Queensland rivalry, and then obviously the Cowboys and Broncos have had such a big rivalry for the last couple of years. So it's a good thing for us because we've sort of put our games into sort of patches along. We've had the first 3 games with our sort of out-of-town ones, and now we've got like the Queensland Derby. So we sort of approach it in small chunks, and we were able to get a good result last night. And for us, we have to keep building off the back of that now, and hopefully we can string together a few more good performances.
We saw last week the Dolphins really dangerous against the Cronulla Sharks, particularly off the back of set restarts, and the Sharks struggled to contain them. What was the focus areas for you guys heading into last night's game?
Well, for us, it's just about we wanted to get back to how we were playing good footy. I think when we control the ball and obviously have a high completion rate, we tend to go well in games, and we probably weren't doing that the first couple of weeks, and we got back to that, especially the second half against Melbourne. And we knew that obviously Dolphins have a really talented squad who could score a lot of points. So for us, it was about completing our sets, getting in that grind of football, and backing out of sense, which is another area that I think we've really improved the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't know whether you upset anyone, Corey, but normally we see when a forward or a front rower gets a shot for goal in a milestone game, it's one right in front, like Josh Papali'i last year. You get one from the sideline. Had you spent any time practicing for that?
No, I didn't. It was actually funny. Like, I joked with Renault kind of during the week. I was like, oh, we scored at the end and we've sealed the game. Can I take a kick? And he goes, yeah, no, we can do that. And to be fair, I was actually rather happy to be on the sideline because I missed it in front and look even worse. So
no
on the
pressure,
sideline and miss it, there's no pressure at all. So I'll take those ones.
Well, when was the last time you had an attempt at a kick for goal?
Oh, I couldn't even remember, to be honest. It's been that long. So
who do you model your goal kicking style on?
Good question. I've been a Cowboys fan. I always used to be Jono, but he just sort of couldn't kick them too well.
Well, at least if you slice it or whatever, or hook it, you can say, yeah, that was doing the Thurston.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Broncos 2 win from 4 games. As Louis indicated, there's always external noise about your club, but now you're winning. It's obviously a great place to be when things are going right because the focus on you guys is unbelievable all the time, isn't it? Good or bad?
Oh, all the time. And that's like I've been here 5 years and it just seems to get more and more every year. And I just feel like, obviously, I know Brisbane's a mad city for the rugby league, but like you said, whether it's good or bad, there's always something in the headlines or something about the Broncos. So for us, it's been really good. And like I said, we've got such a strong group. We just try and keep everything internal and build towards what we're trying to build towards. And like I said, the last couple of weeks have been getting to where we want to be, and there's still plenty of improvement in us.
Just, Ben Teo leaving the club through the week. We're talking before about the situation at Manly and the difference in roles between an assistant coach and a head coach. As a player who's been around now for 150 games, the role of an assistant coach, how in your view does it differ from the head coach?
Oh, I guess every club does it differently. I know that when obviously Teo went with us, he was heavily involved in our defence and paid a lot of strong interest in getting our defence right, and he's the main reason why our defence has been the way it has been. And I guess for Matty there too, like he's been around the game a long time, very knowledgeable, and has good intel, obviously both in attack and defence. And I think they're a lot more. For me, I find a lot more involved now. Like I said, they've got their little aspects of the game that they've got to focus on, whether it's attack, defence, or certain areas within the game, and they focus on those areas. So I guess their knowledge has to be really high, and obviously watching a lot of football, so definitely different from when I first come through anyway.
Corey, we appreciate your time. Well done on 150, mate. Obviously, many, many more to come, including, we hope, a goal from in front, because that's what you deserve. Now you've dealt with the pressure from out wide. Get one from right in front of the post, mate. Well done, and good luck for the remainder of the season. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
No, that was good fun. Corey Jensen, front rower for the Brisbane Broncos, and he's been, I'm going to say taller, I mean it in the nicest way, Louis, for Brisbane, because he's in the front row alongside Payne Haas, who is always going to stand out, and you need Corey Jensen. He's really come of age as a first grader in the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, he's one of those blokes that doesn't get all the accolades, but he does a lot of hard work for him.
He strikes me as a guy that would mean a lot to his teammates.
Yeah, for me, he's like a Matty Pryor. Like Matty Pryor never got the big accolades, but he was a really vital part of our team, you know. So, if he didn't play, you sort of feel the presence is missing. He supports you. He'll take all those tough carries, does all the little 1%ers, as we say. He's one of those real team guys. So that's what Corey does really well, and I know that's why Madge loves him, and I know the Broncos boys up there love him because of the work he does. So he's having a great start of the year. I know he was a bit disappointed with the first couple of games, which they all would have been, but I feel like their forward pack over the last 2 weeks has been really, really good.
Luke Lewis, Michael Carianis, I'm Andrew Moore here at Western Sydney Stadium. Beautiful blue skies overhead on a relatively chilly Sydney day, but at least no rain and storms like we've been having quite a lot of recently. What?
Huh?
What did you say?
I don't mind the nice cold weather, a little bit of rain, because we're warm up here, and I like seeing Carianis a little bit uncomfortable down the sideline.
I thought that's why you like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the look on his face is like, he's filthy.
Well, you've got to say though, Louis, you would have been disappointed being in Canberra 2 Thursday nights ago because it bucketed down. And do you know how often MC whinged about it? Not once.
I don't believe it.
No, he didn't.
I don't believe you.
No, he did well. Cold weather's your...
Well, his mum must have rang him up.
Yeah, I just don't do the cold. The rain was all right. Put an umbrella up, you're fine.
Yeah, even though yours was the size of a thimble.
And leaking.
Jersey flag, Parramatta 8, leading Penrith 0. Queensland Cup second half. Brisbane Tigers 12, leading the North Devils 8. Super Rugby, no score between Auckland and Fiji and Drua. AFL second quarter, it's 27-all between Fremantle and Richmond over in Perth. In the Sheffield Shield Cricket Final Day 3, Victoria, who ran away with the minor premiership, look like they've almost got this final in the bag. South Australia first innings 198, Victoria 261 all out, and now South Australia reeling at 2 for 33 in its second innings. In fact, they've just lost another one. I could hear the appeal from here. They're now 3 for 36, South Australia, trailing by 30 runs with 7 second innings wickets in hand, and 27 runs now the deficit. A-League women in the first half, Sydney FC and Melbourne victory, there's no score, and in Super Netball first quarter, Melbourne Mavericks leading the Melbourne Vixens 12-11. Your text messages remain welcome, 0467 920 222. And when are you going to head down, MC?
Now.
Oh, well, let's get to a couple of doodahs here first.
Okay.
Parramatta's Roslyn from Yorkie's Knob in far north Queensland says Para has got this. Love your confidence, Roslyn. Guys, love my Saturday afternoon milking the cows, listening from the NRL desert of South Gippsland, Victoria, says Brian. MC is right. We don't need the AFL scores. I don't.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Who's
Brian.
that from?
It's from what?
Right.
Don't you listen?
That was.
It would be handy if you actually paid attention to the show every now and then. Brian's.
On you, Brian. You're right in any time.